to the GoPro Mountain Games. We are here, not in Vail, Colorado, but in Glenwood Springs, because it's beautiful. It's beautiful here in Glenwood Springs. There's lots of people, there's lots of mountains, there's a beautiful view, but most importantly, there is water. We have a beautiful, big, fat Colorado River ready to entertain these freestyle fans.
That's right, Clay, and we're looking forward to another awesome day of action and freestyle kayaking brought to you by Pacifico here at the 24th annual GoPro Mountain Games. We've seen this event evolve throughout the decades, and this is the first year that we've actually had to use our contingency plan and operate in an off-site zone, but we're lucky enough to have the technology these days so that we can stream the action straight onto the screen or the big jumbotron located right above our normal announcing zone and spectating zone right there in downtown Vail on Gore Creek. So I hope everyone up there at the Mountain Games at Vail's having a good time, and we're going to try and put on a great show for you here as we get together our Wave Monkey scoring system. And Clay, can you tell us a little bit about the event that we're going to see today?
Yes, sir, Dan. What we got today, we've got two holes, and they're way out in the middle of the river. So the competitor's going to use both the features. This is going to be a little bit different than what we've done in the past. Therefore, we are going to do a jam session format. Instead of the athletes having to wait in between rounds for us to add up the scores, we are going to let them go one after the other for 15 minutes straight. The idea here is we're going to give more entertainment to the athletes. They're going to be a little winded at times, and it's going to be a lot easier for you guys to watch. At the end of 10 minutes, we are going to stop and call out the scores so they know how they're doing, and then we're going to restart for the final 5 minutes. We've got the hole is beautiful, and after surfing the hole, you can go out and do some tricks on the wave, and then you just go right back to get in line. At the end of the round, whoever goes last when that 15-minute whistle blows, everyone behind them in line also gets to go again so that all competitors get the same number of rides.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun, and with this round robin format, I think what some of the athletes are going to be focusing on is, you know, trying to put together a good variety of tricks over each of their runs. So it will be like treating all their runs as if it were one run. So you're not going to be getting scored if you keep going out and doing the same trick over and over and over. Once we start, we want all of our athletes also to stay in order. So once we've gone through one round, we will have established the order, and then everyone will get equal amount of turns until we run out of time. And if we run out of time a little early, of course, we'll give the remaining paddlers their turn to go in the hole. So we're looking for high-flying action out here. I've seen a lot of different tricks, from cartwheels to loops to some lunars and some McNasties.
All right, the first up is going to be Parker Troutman, followed by Anna Monson and Mary Claire Hargrove. These three young women here are up in the top of the eddy, and they're going to come in and do some flat water and some possible loops. They're going to have just a blast here as we get this competition underway.
Some great things to remember about this year's GoPro Mountain Games. Even though we're working with not as much water as we normally are, we're still expecting a ton of people up in and around Vail. So have a great weekend. Remember, all the different events are free to watch. We don't charge for you to come and spectate, so that's one of the things that makes this event so special. And also keeping with protect our resources in line, the Mountain Games has become so sustainable that last year they kept 89% of everything that was thrown away out of the landfill. So I want to thank Walking Mountains for their contribution, and really want to remind all the spectators to sort your garbage and really look up and look around and pick up anything that might get blown into the river. We really appreciate that. Looks like I have some help on the mic here from Mason Hargrove. Mason, have you been out there paddling? Do you get a little feel of the spot out here, and how's your day going?
Yeah, it's been pretty good.
You're on.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. We're kind of just figuring out this feature here in Glenwood. This is one of my first times actually paddling here. I've been here to mess around, but it's really cool to get to learn this hole and train in it and have a new spot to compete in. Glenwood is known for having an awesome wave, but even at these lower flows, it's been a good hole. It's really dynamic, really powerful. You're having to be really precise on where you put your tricks and how you're jumping upstream. But, I mean, you can't ask for better weather than this. Pretty sunny. All the athletes are getting stoked. Going to have a nice reseeding round today for the prelims. Everyone is ready. Look like the judges are almost ready to go. Timer is getting ready. Who is ready to see some freestyle kayaking, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah, this is going to be round robin, so we're going to need to keep the energy up out there. So if you've got a cold Red Bull or a drink, you might want to get that handy so that you can keep cheering and shouting and clapping and supporting whatever paddler you choose to support, whether it's a family member, a friend, or maybe just the paddler with the most awesome outfit. Then that's your prerogative, but we're here to support every athlete and give every single one of these athletes an equal opportunity. Looks like Nick Troutman's going to lead out our first athlete into the hole. Who do we have here?
First off, we have Parker Troutman coming in, probably our youngest competitor of the day. Parker getting a nice little paddle through. That's going to be her first ride. Next up, Anna Monson from Charlotte, North Carolina, making the rally across. Anna has been competing on the scene for a long time now, looking to make the U.S. team later this year in October to go to Sort, Spain. I'm excited to see what she can do for this first ride. Looks like she's lining up an entry move. Dan, what we got?
Looks like she's trying to line up a bit of a little flip and kick there, but it kind of just flipped her and kicked her right out of the hole. But in this round robin format, we're right into our next competitor, 419. I believe you know who this is.
Yeah, this is my little sister, Mary Claire Hargrove. Competed for Team USA over in Germany last year. Looking for that entry 3 up and over the top. Maybe that'll be downgraded to an entry 2 depending on what the judges say.
And I've got to say, her kit, her outfit is looking spot on with that beautiful glitter shining in the Colorado sunshine here. She goes for a nice little maybe blunt maneuver there, maybe going for a backstab on kind of a little bit more of a wavy feature over on river left. And so that's what makes this spot so unique.
Parker trying to get in,
All
not
right.
quite getting in there. But yeah, the really cool thing about this, Dan, is you have the powerful hole on the left-hand side. Like we see in Anna over there doing a big old front flip, getting a nice air bonus. But you got your powerful hole on surfer's left, and then a nice wave here on river right, or surfer's right.
And I think these young ladies are going to have to be careful to conserve their energy in this round robin format. Since the rides aren't quite a minute long usually, it's like they're out, they're back in, they're paddling up the eddy, and they don't even have a chance to catch their breath. On top of that, competing at such a high altitude, this might be a little bit different experience for some of our paddlers out here.
Definitely. This is going to be more of an endurance round for sure, but also being explosive during each of your rides, taking advantage of the hole part so you can get the biggest tricks possible and get the high-scoring rides, but also being strategical, keeping in the hole and doing tricks.
Here in our junior women's class at the Pacifico GoPro Mountain Games Freestyle Kayak Qualifiers. I think Parker's doing
We got a nice little ferry over there. Parker also we're
solid.
doing the cadet scoring. So
Okay.
for the cadet scoring we've had in a lot of other competitions, you can get tricks and points for just doing rolls and ferries and stuff like that. Mary Claire having a nice loop there too.
That was a big loop. She's got a little bit of air under that boat. I see that metal flake kind of purple fading into teal. Just a nice outfit there. And our next paddler also with a beautiful outfit, looking to go for that loop, I think. Gets a bit of a flip and flush. And here's where our athletes might get a little tired just from the expectation that, we want to see someone in the hole the whole time. And so if they're paddling back up the eddy and no one's in the hole, and then they're like, ooh, I got to get back up there and get in there, they're going to have a lot of rides. Nice big entry move there.
Looking for a nice Space Godzilla there, getting a 90-degree twist. Each of these tricks have a predetermined point value and a definition they have to meet to score these tricks, We have 3 judges up here, and this is going to be an average in between the 3. So what we just saw is Mary Claire doing a Space Godzilla. That's a front flip, but with a 90-degree twist in the middle of it, landing back straight. Let's see what Anna has in. Coming in, plugging her bow. Maybe also looking for that space for the loop, but kind of getting a little rejected and pushed down deep. If I knew Mary Claire, she's probably going to go in there and start trying some phonics or her other Space Godzilla. So you can do each trick to 2 different directions. Like that. Giant Space Godzilla off to the right-hand side. See that boat make that big 90-degree twist? That's going to be around, if she gets the huge bonus, 150 points. So really racking it up.
I think I see Troutman on the other side of the river really mixing it up with the feature here, utilizing all the different areas in the feature. They're getting a little bit of a tour from her father, Mr. Nick Troutman, one of the youngest paddlers, if not the youngest paddler in this year's Pacifico GoPro Mountain Games Junior Women's Kayak Qualifier. And
Anna looking for maybe a Space Godzilla there. Next up, Mary Claire. The other thing you can see is both these athletes in these juniors. Whoa, big old loop there. Both of the athletes that are in this side of the feature are in carbon fiber kayaks. Dan, can you tell me a little bit about those carbon boats?
well, I think the biggest advantage would be that the weight. The weight savings is probably 20 or 30% over their roto-molded or plastic counterparts. Here comes Troutman with a nice little freestyle. She kind of buttered it there as she came out of the wave there, kind of started breaking. Did a great job of staying upright. She heads back to the eddy, and we've got more competition here in the meatiest part of this feature. And that's pretty powerful hydraulic in there, Mason. It's not everyone's cup of tea. It takes a pretty talented paddler to get into the middle of this hole right here where we see Mary Claire Hargrove, who made her international debut at the 2025 ICF World Championships after earning a spot on the junior women's freestyle team at just 15 years old. She's placed gold in 7 freestyle competitions in 2026 as a junior. So she is looking to add to her long list of accolades here in the kayaking world. And she's off to a great start there. Is she paddling a dream boat?
Yeah, that is a dream boat right there. I built that one for her about 2 years ago. It's looking nice and fresh still. That glitter is shining in the sun. It's unfortunate not to have Steven right here this year, but I know he's watching. Looking for those roundhouses to the right-hand side. So the difference between a spin, a roundhouse, a blunt, and a Pan Am, each have different verticality that you have to reach. So for the spin, pretty easy, pretty just flat spin around 10 points. For the roundhouse, you get a little bit of lift, so about 15 degrees, going to get 15 points. Oh, Parker over there getting more surfs in.
Parker's got that little wave kick back into the river right-hand eddy. She's getting that dialed. Our next paddler looking to plug it in, a big Space Godzilla. Air wheel to the right side. It's going to add to her variety. And that's what we're really looking at in freestyle competition of any sort, really, is to see which athlete has the biggest bag of tricks with the most different tricks. Because we're all humanoids. We just like variety. It's in our DNA. So we've designed that right into the scoring system here. Marie Claire Hargrove out there trying to get that boat spinning around. What move was she going for there, Mason?
She's going for a McNasty. So that's a 180-degree rotation flowed straight into a front loop. Around 120 points if you add air, 170. So definitely a really high-scoring trick. Looks like we have Parker on the other side of the river. Maybe going to get another surf in. Anna's coming. We're going to head to Parker next. Anna surfing around this river left-hand side, surfer's right-hand shoulder. Maybe looking for a backstab or a back blunt.
And that's a tricky spot in there. As we see Nick Troutman getting Parker fired up. Oh, Marie Claire's going to pop back on in there. See if she can get maybe a blunt or a roundhouse or maybe just a quick ender.
All right, Parker in over there, getting a little bit of a window shade, but she's going to be able to roll up. Parker has no issues rolling anymore. Look at that.
Let's hear it for Parker. And that's some cold water to be rolling in out there, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone, if you're in and around the river, please use common sense. Put on your PFD. If you've got a dog with you, please have them on a leash. Have them on a PFD if you're around the river.
All right, after Mary Claire, we're going to take a quick break, announce scores. This will be around a quick little 2-minute or 3-minute left mark. So we're going to take a quick pause just so these athletes can know what the scores are.
We're just going to take a second so you can catch your breath. We're going to also announce the scores. Hopefully our athletes can hear us. Most of our athletes wear earplugs, and if they don't, they should. Take it from many of us who have suffered from surfer's ear and exostosis. If you don't have a good pair of earplugs and you're still kayaking in cold Rocky Mountain water, I highly recommend you get some. Some really nice ones on the market these days.
All right. First up, we're going to announce Parker Troutman. She has some points for some cadet scoring. She has some ferries. She has some rolls. She has some getting in the feature and some combat rolls. With these younger athletes, we're trying to encourage all of them to paddle around and try a lot of new tricks and try new stuff that's scary to them. So Parker has been killing it. She is our youngest junior out here and having a really good time.
And that's what makes kayaking so addicting, is each time you go paddling, you improve a little bit. You maybe look at the water a little bit differently. And the water's always changing. It's a constantly changing medium, and I think that's another one of the things that makes it so fun.
All righty, for Anna Monson's score, we're looking at some loops, Space Godzillas, and shove-its. She's got a Space Godzilla across the board. Her middle score right now is sitting at 195. That would be the middle judge's score. And we're going to then roll into Mary Claire Hargrove's score. Now she, as you could probably tell, topped it off pretty darn good with spins, loops, Space Godzillas, roundhouses, with a lot of modifiers like air and huge. Her middle score right now is sitting at 515 points. 515.
So Marie Claire holding it down here. She also volunteers to help kids and veterans discover kayaking.
All right, we're going to do 5 minutes for these athletes, 5 more minutes. That's going to give them about 2 rides each. So each of these athletes are going to get 2 more rides to try and up their score. Like Hojo was saying, Mary Claire has a commanding lead with 5:15. If you are a junior boy, get in the water, get in your boats. We are going to be rolling straight into you right after this. But right now, it is all about the junior women. We are just waiting for the thumbs up from the head judge, Clay Wright. And we are going to run it. We're going to start off with Parker Troutman on the other side of the river. All right, there's the thumbs up. All right, 2 more rides for each of these athletes. They are looking to up their score and try and get on top. This is a reseeding for tomorrow, so all these athletes will be going into the finals. Right now, Parker Troutman dropping in.
Parker looking to surf across that current. Take an aggressive angle following her father, world champion kayaker himself, Mr. Nick Troutman. And we're back into the competition with our round robin style. Going for that loop, coming straight into the most powerful part of that hydraulic. Kind of getting spit out the wave. She'll be able to climb back up the river left-hand side as Marie Claire enters that more ledgy position. You see as she really has to lean downstream as to not catch that upstream rail. Now she's going to have to straighten it out. Does a great job showing some good kayak control here as she crosses that feature from the middle to the river left-hand side. Looks like Parker going for a roll in the eddy there, kind of a combat roll. Let's hear it for her.
All right, last rides for Anna and Mary Claire. Anna dropping in. Let's see what she can do for us. Maybe looking for a loop on the shoulder. She needs some wave tricks. She's done her loop in her space and a shove it. Let's see if she can try and get a spin in there. Another shove it to the right-hand side. Maybe trying to get on top of the foam pile to bounce down. Looking for maybe a Felix, not quite getting that thing to come around. And here we go. Your current leader as of right now, Mary Claire Hargrove's last ride.
Oh,
and she's going to miss the feature.
Just comes off the corner there. A little bit of the curse of the announcer maybe, but as we move on through the rounds, all of these athletes will be reseeded into our semifinals later on. Next up, we have our junior men's class, or our junior boys, as we might call them now.
We are about to see some high-flying action. These junior boys have been thrown down all week. I've been out here watching them train. A lot of them are locals to Glenwood, so they know this wave really, really well. They paddle it all year long. They know it at all different river levels. Some of them are only telling me it's dropped 20 CFS within the day or grades up 20 CFS, and they know exactly how this changes throughout the day. So we're going to see some really, really cool stuff going on, some big high-flying moves. Definitely grab some drinks, clean up after yourself. You're not going to want to go anywhere. The rounds are going to only get more and more awesome to watch. So we're getting these junior ladies scores locked in, and then we're going to move straight into the junior men's.
I want to remind everyone that there's still tickets available for all of our shows at the AMP. Each night, starting tonight, they're going to have unbelievable music up there, and if you haven't seen a concert at the AMP, you should really treat yourself to doing that. It's an amazing place, and it's just going to be a really good lineup. So looking forward to seeing you up there at the AMP. You can get your tickets, I believe, right up till the time of the show, so make sure you grab your tickets online. If you haven't had a chance yet, make sure you download the official GoPro Mountain Games app on your iOS or Android device. It allows you to look up each of the events, find out all the details, when and where it's at, and along with all kinds of other fun information and activities to do here at the 24th Annual GoPro Mountain Games, featuring athletes, art, mountains, and music. My name is Dan Gavira. I'm being joined here by Mason Hargrove. We are just kind of kicking off our Pacifico Freestyle Kayak Qualifiers, and you know what's really unique about this year's event, obviously besides not being in the town of Vail, is we're broadcasting live. So I want to say big shout out and a big hello to everyone watching up in the town of Vail on the Jumbotron up there, and a big shout out to all the IT and personnel behind the scenes that helped set this up, really melding technology with our mountain games and bringing you the best show we can possibly offer.
100%. And this is freestyle kayaking, and we are about to see, even though the river's low, some high-flying action. We are going to have the junior men's. A lot of these junior men's here are on the path to making the USA team. So right here, this is the part of the Colorado tour that happens all over the state. Even though it's low, we've had 2 other events over the state. GoPro Mountain Games being the biggest and most special event during the Colorado tour, because it is GoPro Games. That's the big money prize. That's where everyone wants to go. GoPro Mountain Games here all over the state.
Yeah, and I think it carries some prestige to it, being that it's an event that attracted some of the best paddlers 25 years ago. I remember paddling here with Eric Jackson, Brad Ludden, a whole cast of characters from back in the day. We had a great time here, and it was really up to Vail to step up and provide an awesome venue, and that's when they decided to invest all that money in the whitewater course. And ever since then, we've seen a world-class pro level of competitors show up each and every year. So if you can come here and do well at the GoPro Mountain Games, probably in any sport really, you're pretty much claiming yourself as probably one of the best in the world. So that's kind of a neat aura to have around the games, and we're just grateful to be here putting it on again.
100%.
I think one of the things too that freestyle, the core meaning of freestyle, is being able to do tricks where maybe someone else hasn't thought of that trick, And a lot that comes with that is figuring out what the river is giving up as far as tricks. And as a kayaker, freestyle kayaker myself, that was the funnest part, was just paddling down the river and just like exploring and figuring out what trick you could do where, and be like, oh wow, like Clay like was splatting that wall, that's so cool. Maybe you could do cartwheels in that little hole and then just continue right into the splat. And like, even though we've got, you know, the word of the year this year is low water and wah wah wah, I think freestyle kayaking is great because now the boats are so small that you can really explore all over Colorado and find great freestyle kayaking, whether you're on the Colorado, the Animas, maybe even the Arkansas, or any one of number of excellent whitewater areas.
Alrighty, we have our running heat list here for right now. First up, bib 409, Tucker Troutman. After him, bib 413, Mathis Hargrove. Bib 416, Owen Forrester. Bib 323, Marcus Mortel. And bib 320, Bodie Hillicky. It's going to be, so we're going to have Tucker, and then Mathis, and then Owen, and then Marcus, and then Bodie. So Tucker, Mathis, Owen, Marcus, Bodie. And we're hold on one sec. We do not have our entire heat list as of right now.
We're missing Remy.
We're missing Remy, and we're missing Jude. I see some other athletes out there.
So we're going to make a couple more additions here. Make sure that we get everyone in here. These paddlers are literally frothing harder than that play spot out there. They are ready to go. And tell us a little bit about those pre-competition jitters, Mason. I know that's like, it's one of the things probably all of us get, but it's also, you can use it for fuel, or sometimes it can really eat you up. So, you know, this is a mental game too.
Definitely. It's a lot of mental, because you go out there and you train and you know exactly where to throw a lot of the tricks. But when it comes competition time, you got to lay it down. Normally there's a cut going from whatever it is to 5 into finals. But today it'll be a little bit lower stress, but you'll see some guys bopping their head, having some music, kind of just get in the zone. Other people will be walking around, kind of talking to people, want to have that. So each of these athletes are different. It's a lot to do with their kayaking style too. Like each of these athletes you'll be seeing them do the same trick, but they'll all be doing it in different kind of ways and have their own ways of setting up, their own ways of going through their routine, and what if they're going to do their bigger tricks first that take more energy, or they start off with their smaller tricks to get points on the board. It's all a points game. All of these athletes know how much each trick's worth, what the bonuses are worth, and what they need to do to be on top of the podium.
And it's going to be interesting in this round robin style, so I think we're going to have a lot of continuous action. So keep putting your hands together. It's going to be a lot. We're expecting a lot out of our spectators too, Mason. You know, in this style, they're going to be cheering a lot continuously. So
100%. The more you see the boat leave the water, the louder you should cheer. That means they're either going to get an air or a huge bonus. So if their boat leaves the water that's going to give them a bonus. All right, here is our running order as of right now. This is actually what we're doing. First up, Tucker Troutman. Next up, Mathis. And then Owen, Marcus Mortel, Bodie Hillicky, Remy, and then Jude. So again, Tucker, Mathis, Owen, Marcus, Bodie, Remy, and then Jude. That is going to be our running order.
And once we've gone through, we want you guys to stay in order as best you can. Okay, so that way we can make sure everyone gets the equal amount of rides. If the time goes out before we finished one whole round, we'll let the remaining paddlers get their rides so that all the paddlers will get the equal amount of rides in this round robin format at the 24th annual Pacifico Freestyle Junior Men's Kayak Qualifiers. Here for the first time ever on the Glenwood Wave, I guess we would call it. Is this the Glenwood Play Park? I think they built this around 2008, I'm going to say, 2010. I remember one of the first years that the Wave came in after they had done the final modifications. We had a huge glassy green wave that was about 6 feet tall on the left side, and it was there for about a month. And then we came back one morning and it had completely changed. So we've seen the wave change a little bit over the years too, as all those rocks kind of settled in here, that they actually manipulated so that they could create this kayaking culture here that really goes along with the mountain lifestyle. And Glenwood, we've just got to send a big shout out to them. They've really put a lot into making sure that this area, this amphitheater area, is really nice and that the steps are in great condition. So like a big shout out to Glenwood for welcoming us down here and allowing us to set up and host this competition, which is just starting to get lit up here in the hot afternoon sun. If you haven't put on some sunscreen, I highly recommend you do that. Fill up your water bottles. Another thing to have quick note is we've got water refilling stations all throughout the village through the mountain games, so check that out. But we are getting ready to start our Pacifico Freestyle Kayak Qualifiers for our junior men. They've been sitting in their kayaks for probably a little bit longer than they've wanted to, and they've probably gotten through some of those pre-race jitters, and now they're like, okay, we're definitely ready.
It's really cool to see an event back here. I think the last event that we've had here in Glenwood was team trials for 2015 World Championships that was held in Ottawa, Canada. First up, Tucker Troutman dropping in. He's starting it off with a big front loop to get it going. What a solid way to start it up. Next up, we're going to have Mathis Hargrove. He's coming in, another one of my siblings, my youngest little brother.
How old is Mathis?
Mathis is 15 years old, ripping around.
Awesome. Nice job, Mathis. Next up, entering the hole from the center.
Mathis is actually 12 years old. Huge front loop by Owen Forrester, Colorado local from Fort Collins.
Owen Forrester, 14 years old. Probably spends a lot of time up there on the Poudre River.
Definitely. Next up, CRMS local to Carbondale. Marcus Mortel dropping in. He is in a Dreamboat carbon fiber kayak, looking for that entry move, but not quite getting it. Next up, Bodie Hillicky.
Bodie Hillicky grew up literally just up the Hillicky.
Looking for this entry move too. You're going to see some of these athletes starting from the top, looking for that big entry move over the top, maybe only getting an entry one there, kind of just rolling over. There's different little tactics you can do. Going for a nice shove it, linking it to a spin. If you see athletes do trick one after another, they're going to get a little link bonus on that one, even if they are the smaller tricks.
Yeah, Hillicky looking nice and loose in there on that wave. Next up, paddler backing it in here. Hopefully they get a little bit of pop here on this entry maneuver. What are we going to see here, Mason?
Good little entry two there. You see how he got his chest and head dry. That's Remy, also from CRMS, right down the way in Carbondale. Our last paddler in this heat, Jude Monson. We just saw his sister, Anna, competing as well. Jude getting that loop nice and over the top.
409 coming into the center of the feature here. As we get into this round robin style, we're going to have just consistent action. Nice quick poppy loop there, but gets a little off axis on the second part of it. 11-year-old Micro Hargrove. Nice ender off the corner there. We haven't seen that one yet.
Owen Forrester coming back in. Owen can do some big tricks. He saw that big loop off the start. Going to come over here and do a nice blunt to the right-hand side. Back roundhousing it around to the right. That's going to be around 45 to 50 points. They scored all that just super quick.
Very quick. Owen looking great. And with probably the nicest kit and the most sweetest outfit in this heat, I'd say. Who do we have next? Up there blasting the hole.
We have Marcus Mortel. He was looking for a McNasty. You can see him getting sideways, trying to pop that boat.
Big blunt.
Big old air blunt there. Bodie back inside the hole. Bodie ripping around on this right-hand side, looking for that nice roundhouse to the left-hand side. Good 15 degrees of verticality. You're going to score 15 points on that one. Spin back around.
Looking loose and styly on that wave. Looking for maybe a roundhouse blunt the other way. Standing it up tall on the tail there. Doing a good job of staying in there. He's got a nice light feel for that hole. You can tell he spent a little bit of time training here.
All right, Remy dropping in, plugging the bow. Big loop. Can he stay retained? Yes, he does.
That's probably registering on the radar locally here as he throws one of the biggest loops we've seen of the day so far. Now going for maybe a wave trick. Let's see. What does Remy have for us? Spins it around. Wasn't sure what he was going for.
All right, Jude, again, 12 years old. We have 3 12-year-olds in this heat. Looking for a Space Godzilla. Nice twist there in that loop.
And with that being said, 3 12-year-olds in this heat. I believe the future of freestyle kayaking is looking pretty good here with these athletes coming out. Beautiful, nice, clean cartwheel there. Big spin, going for that blunt to the right.
Tucker Troutman ripping it up, also 12 years old. Absolutely throwing down, trying to get a quick over-the-top loop with no air. Mathis Hargrove back inside the hole. Oh, just getting washed out.
416 coming into this play spot. And it's so nice to see some of the new kayaks here. They're much smaller so that each paddler can get a kayak that's going to fit them properly. Marcus Mortel with a nice big air wheel. Straight out onto the wave, going for a big blunt there. Kind of gets buried into at least a roundhouse, I'd say. Some nice flat spins. Hits kind of the shoulder of the wave and pops off.
Yeah, giant space. Look at Bodie, going to go big loop up and over the top, getting definitely the air bonus. It's going to be around 90 points for that trick. Where Marcus, his Space Godzilla, was going to be around 150 because he got that extra huge bonus. So all the points game, Remy plugging it in. Good space, getting that 90-degree twist there. Oh, just unfortunately looking. If you look at the hole right now, it's got a little bubble in the middle. That's the danger zone. You don't want to be there. You want to try and surf across fast. Jude, big loop, nice, stuck it.
Just trying to come across that bubble we were talking about. And it's a tough spot to find the sweet spot in here. Not only does the foam throw you around on your approach, but it's just hard to gauge your speed on the initiation. Sometimes you just fall and drop into the pit, and other times, you know, the nose catches a little earlier than you might have imagined it would. But these athletes are looking great, making freestyle and kayaking looking fun here in Colorado as a part of our 24th annual Pacifico Freestyle Kayak preliminaries for our junior men out here. Looks like we have about 8 competitors, ranging in age from 16 to 11 years old.
12 years old. Yeah, look at Marcus. He's trying for the lunar orbit. We haven't seen one of these yet today. Push the bow up, try and go up and over. Not quite getting the flip around. That needs to build to a 30-degree angle, up and over, flowing into a back loop or a cartwheel end. One of the hardest scores on tricks on the score sheet.
Now he's back over here on the wave, just shredding it up in that purple and blue outfit. Looking good with that composite kayak. Hillicky into the hole with a nice big air wheel. Looks like you got a little bit of air on that. Now carving it nice and smoothly over to the wave, but catches a bit of a surge. I thought he was going to wash off, but he stays on there and gets a full spin. It's just Remy, I believe, out into the hole. Remy, I think a local paddler from Colorado, Carbondale.
Again, with all this freestyle kayaking you have going on, you're seeing a few of the same tricks. These athletes are just trying to tick off their score sheet. Now we're going to probably start seeing some verticality and some different tricks coming in because they know they have it on the score sheet. Like we're seeing Tucker, big cartwheel there, cleaning it up. He's going to get an added clean bonus to that one as well. We're definitely going to see some variety going on. Tucker getting a spin, knocked off the score sheet. And looking for a blunt. We have about 25 to 30 tricks on our score sheet as of right now. So there is a ton these athletes can do and will do as this round continues on.
And it's interesting in that since they're not doing 1 minute rides, Mason, it's almost like they can just set up one big banger trick kind of on each ride and then just kind of go through the score sheet. And that really kind of changes up this competition format, maybe over, the traditional way that we judge freestyle kayaking. A nice loop there, right on the sweet spot of that river left feature here. Absolutely shredding out there.
With this jam session format, we're definitely going to be seeing some of the juniors and really all the athletes trying tricks maybe they wouldn't actually try in competition because they have a lot of attempts to actually try it and definitely get perfectly set up to be able to do that. Like Bodie and Marcus there going tit for tat, both looking for the McNasties because no one in this round has actually scored them yet. Remy making sure he's got his loop on his score sheet, but I'm pretty sure he does.
Yeah, so athletes keep that in mind. It's like all of your rides add up to one ride. So if you've already done a loop, we're looking for different tricks. Variety is definitely one of the single most important aspects of freestyle kayak and doing well as far as the scoring goes. It's like this will be our last ride before we announce the scores. 409 into the hole. I believe this is Troutman. Troutman with some nice loops. I know he got a blunt, went for a cartwheel on this wave. Doesn't quite get the initiation.
Mathis Hargrove dropping in. Let's see if he can actually get some tricks. Having a hard time kind of staying in, but there he is, nice and established. I've seen him do some nice spins just like that right there. Good right-handed spin. That's 10 points on his score sheet. Looking around for the left-handed spin so he can do it to each direction and move on to some of his harder tricks. Mathis can do some loops and Space Godzillas, but as being a smaller athlete, it's kind of hard for him to throw that boat around. All right, Owens, last ride before we announce scores. Let's see what he can do. Offside Space Godzilla for him here. With that hole being diagonal to the left-hand side, it is really hard to get your boat to rotate again. You're actually having to do an extra 70 degrees of the rotation to get it to go.
Yeah, but when you get that pop, it almost pops you back into the more retentive part of the hole. Even though you're kind of working cross grain, it could be a good move because it does set you up to kind of stay in the wave a little bit longer. Looking for maybe a donkey flip there. Haven't seen that yet.
Bodie looking for kind of trying to get set back up, but just getting pushed over. Saw Marcus try that donkey flip or air screw. Maybe he's going to go for that or just hit some spins or some low-angle cartwheels.
417 coming into the hole. Going for that cartwheel right in the thick of things there. Just catching a little too much momentum, bubbling out. 414 coming in. One of our junior freestyle kayakers here for the first time on the Colorado River down here in Glenwood. We're going to take a little break here and announce everybody's scores so you can catch your breath for a second. Want to welcome everyone. If you're tuning in live, happy to have you here in downtown Glenwood on the banks of the Colorado River for the first time as a part of the GoPro Mountain Games. We've got the Pacifico Freestyle Kayak Junior Men's Qualifiers happening right now. We're about halfway through a round-robin run, and all the paddlers are going to come over to the side, and the judges are going to tell them exactly what their score is right now, and that way they can make a game plan and create a strategy for the rest of their qualifying session here.
Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to start at the top here. We're going to look for Tucker Troutman. So let's see what Tucker Troutman's score is. So we got Tucker Troutman right now is sitting at 180 points. Moving forward into 413, Mathis Hargrove. Mathis has a clean spin across the board, 10 points. Moving on to the next paddler will be 416, Owen Forster. Again, a clean run across the board, 305 points, 305. For bib 323, we're looking at 305 points for Marcus Mortel. Right now, Bodie Hillicky is sitting at 265 center score, 265. Excuse me, sorry, 305. And now for bib 417, Remy Brunson We've got a score of 305 points clean, looks like. We're close. And then bib 414, Jude Monson. Bib 414 sitting at 210 points. 210 points. Those are the scores right now. We're going to take it back to the top here. We got about 5 more minutes of the junior men.
All right, want to thank Wave Monkey's scoring system. They've created the scoring system by which our whole sport is judged, literally. And they're also providing today's broadcast, our live broadcast, up to the town of Vail. If you're watching from the International Bridge or the Footbridge, we want to say hello and thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you're having a wonderful day and getting a nice, beautiful kickoff to this year's GoPro Mountain Games. My name is Dan Gavir. I've been coming here for about 25 years, initially as an athlete, and for the last couple decades as an announcer, bringing you all the whitewater kayak action. I'm joined alongside by international kayak athlete and kayak builder Mason Hargrove, who's helping me call out these freestyle maneuvers, kind of what it takes to do well in a competition like this, and giving us some more in-depth background on some of our athletes out here. We've got athletes coming from all over the world, really. We've got athletes here from Canada. We've got athletes here from all over the U.S., including the Carolinas, I believe the Northeast. We've got paddlers here from Tennessee, West Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, just to name a few. And I believe we probably have a lot of athletes here from Colorado, all over the Front Range and beyond. And I welcome everyone for coming out. If you see something spectacular, make sure you put your hands together and cheer all of our athletes on. They now have an exact idea of how well they're doing in the competition, maybe what moves they know they've already scored, and maybe trying to think about what new maneuver they might be able to throw down and get a little better score. Because if they've already got a loop, they're just wasting their time going in the hole and trying to do more loops. Looks like we're ready to get going again. And we are back on the clock, and we will start with our first athlete who is coming up. It looks like Mr. Troutman.
Tucker charging in right now. We know he has loops, spaces, and a blunt. So we need to see him try some other stuff. Going to add a huge bonus to that loop. That was ginormous.
That was one of the biggest loops we have seen. So you can add that bonus if you've already done the trick.
All right, Mathis coming in. He has a nice little spin. We want to see him try and do a loop. Oh, just unfortunately flushing off.
It's like 416 entering the feature there in the middle, going for that Space Godzilla. Half cartwheel, half loop, off-axis cartwheel, more or less. We call the air wheel. Into some nice spins. Looking very light on his seat, if you will, as he spins around. Believe he's in the Jackson kayak there. Warner paddle in hand. A lot of these paddlers are using bent shaft paddles, I noticed. It's been quite the thing, and a nice big vertical loop there for Marcus.
Yeah, shoving around there. Each of those shove-its are about 5 points. So definitely starting to go for the lower. Oh, we have an interesting strategy here. Bodie coming back up to the top. He knows he missed his entry move at the start of the round, so he's coming back up to the top to try that thing again. Pretty smart if you ask me. And there is the entry 3. So he's going to add 120 points to his score sheet just with that.
Well, that's interesting. And being as there is really no cut from this qualifier, we're just going to use it as a reseeding ground. It gives the athletes a really good idea of the feature, the scoring, how it's going to work, and they're going to have a much better game plan tomorrow coming into this. So I believe this will just help all of our athletes with their competition craft, if you will, and creating a game plan as to how to get the most amount of points out here.
Remy looking for the big loop over the top. Next up, Jude Monson from Charlotte, North Carolina. Looking for the loop. Can he stay retained? Yes, he does. One of our first athletes we've seen stick something. There's an advantage to being small in freestyle. You can make your boat stay in different spots. All right, Tucker Troutman back up to the top of our heat list.
Tucker Troutman fighting his way over the foam there in the deepest part of that hole there. It goes a little bit deep. I think we have Mathis here, Hargrove coming in, going for that loop maybe. 416 coming out into the feature. Forster maybe going for a backstab there.
Marcus Mortel dropping in. Big offside Space Godzilla coming cross current for that one, but staying nice and retained. And then hopping on that bubble, Bodie Hillicky, he's going to try that McNasty. There it is. It lines up. Is he going to stay retained? Yes, he does. First McNasty we have seen in this junior men's class. That's going to up his score. I think Bodie's comfortably sitting in first.
Yeah, that McNasty was pretty amazing because he traveled about 10 feet laterally across the feature while he did that maneuver. Nice big loop there to retain on the wave. You could see that big bubble there on the cockpit of that kayak. That actually helps keep that kayak in the wave just like that after a nice big vertical end off the stern.
Maybe trying a back loop there. It has to come up and over the top, so it'll be up whether the judges think it did score or not. But it was pretty close. First back loop we've seen, especially really impressive in this smaller pocket. Jude going for a right-handed cartwheel, not quite finishing the rotation that he needed, but really, really close. All right, third rides after our cut, or after our talk. Tucker Troutman back into the feature, plugging it in. That's the spot to go big, but it's a really dangerous zone. That spot actually is the most aeration in the hole, so you can go the biggest there, but is the most technical spot to actually land a trick.
Yeah, you really need to pull that trick aerial so that when you come back down, you're on your hull and paddling back upstream. Going for a pretty quick cartwheel there, kind of across the grain. Marcus Mortel's had some great maneuvers. He's got a good game plan coming into it. Going into maybe a McNasty, going for the bailing out with a back loop. Kind of shakes his head, maybe looks to see if he got the score. Hillicky into the guts of the feature, if you will, right in the middle. It's a great place to start because if you miss your trick, you have a chance to catch this wave and get some more points on your scorecard. So it is kind of cool the way this feature is set up. You kind of get two chances if you're lucky. There we see a nice big air wheel.
Remy having a pretty solid ride so far. Saw that back loop on his last ride. It'll be up to the judges whether he scored him. It was really close, really cool to see. All right, Jude is going to have his ride, and then after Jude does his ride, each of these athletes going to get one more attempt to up their score.
So this will be last rides, everyone. This is your last ride. Tucker Troutman coming out 409 in the Jackson kayak. Nice big Space Godzilla to the right. Catching that wave. Nice spin, very snappy. Snapping that blue helmet around. You can kind of see where he's going by which way he's looking. As another Hargrove enters the feature here, this feature will be frequented by more Hargroves today than any other family member.
All right, crowd, this is their last rides. Come on, let's get big, let's get loud, let's see them go big. Owen with that Space Godzilla there, trying to go against the grain, get his offsides going as well. Back over to this wave feature. He hasn't done any vertical blunts yet, so let's see him try and set that up.
Owen, 15 years old, coming out of Fort Collins, Colorado. He's probably spent a lot of time on the Poudre River up there. 416 rolling up after his final ride in the qualifiers. And let's see what Marcus has for us. Mr. Mortel has absolutely been throwing down for this whole competition. And I would definitely put him up there probably as the top three.
Definitely think he's in top 3 position as of right now. Bodie has 2 more tricks in the rest of the field, so Bodie's definitely going in there. Let's see him try a Phonics Monkey. He's going to probably go crossbow. Let's see if he tries it. Nope. He's just going to do another Space Godzilla.
He's got another opportunity if he can do it quick. He's going to have to ride the shoulder out into the wavy part of this feature. It goes from kind of muscling it to finessing it two distinctly different features kind of combined into one here on the Colorado River as we host the 24th annual GoPro Mountain Games here on the banks of the Colorado River, downtown Glenwood. I want to welcome everyone to this year's GoPro Mountain Games and the Pacifico Freestyle Kayak Qualifiers for the men's juniors. After this, we'll have the women's senior class coming out. Last ride here, I believe. And let's have a big round of applause for all of our junior men's paddlers, all of our junior paddlers, the boys and the girls coming out, putting on a great show here. This is a powerful feature for a smaller humanoid. I know if I was 11 or 12 years old and my dad was coaxing me into this play spot, I would probably be chewing my nails off. Want to thank Pacifico, Cerveza Pacifico Clara. If you are of age, make sure you head to one of the Pacifico stations throughout Vail Village. Pick up the iconic yellow can to keep yourself beveraged throughout the weekend. So we want to send a big shout out to Pacifico. I want to send a big shout out to GoPro. If you're wandering around the village and looking for something to do, head over to the main GoPro booth, which is right there in the Solaris Plaza. Scan the QR code, enter your email. It's super easy, and you'll be entered to win one of the daily prizes, which is normally a GoPro Hero 13 Black. And they do the drawing every day at 4 o'clock. And the cool thing about that GoPro drawing is you have to be present to win, and you have to get to their stage within 5 seconds, or they draw the next person. So if you enter for that, make sure you head over to GoPro at 4 o'clock for their daily GoPro giveaway. They've been supporting our event for going on 10 years here, and a big shout out to them. And if you're looking for an action camera to make your life simple and capturing all those moments, because really what's life about? It's about those moments, and converting those moments into memories can be kind of hard, especially when you get older and your hard drive starts to get a little crusty and doesn't run as good as it does when it's younger days. Well, then you have all those GoPro files to go back, and it's almost like a history of your life. So if you're looking for a great camera to document just about anything in the world, look for a new camera, maybe as a gift for a friend or a family member. Definitely help support the companies that help support us. And our number one supporter this year is GoPro, so a big shout out to them once again. I'd like to thank some of our other volunteers, anyone who's volunteered at the GoPro Mountain Games, whether it's this year or in years past. We want to send a big shout out to our volunteers. They can be found all around the village throughout the weekend, whether you're in Purina, Pro Plan Dogtown, down by Lion's Head, or if you're all the way up by the climbing wall and the kids' kayak and SUP area at Golden Peak, or you're around the Mountain Plaza area and our international sport climbing wall. You can find volunteers doing all kinds of things, so a big shout out to them. Big shout out to Wave Monkey Scoring System for not only supporting the live webcasts that we're doing right now, but also all the scoring is based on the Wave Monkey Scoring System for freestyle kayak. They'll also be doing the timing for some of our other events, which includes the Slipher and Smith and Sons SUP race, which will be happening tomorrow, along with our raft race and our kayak races. That's all happening on the Upper Sea tomorrow, so that'll be a lot of fun to check out. And then we'll be coming down here and having our freestyle semifinals and finals in the afternoon. So a lot more whitewater action still coming at you for the GoPro Mountain Games, the 2026 version. If you haven't had a chance, you should definitely download the GoPro Mountain Games app. The official app can be found on the iOS store or your Google store for Android. And that allows you to schedule any of the events, look up any of the information on where, when, and what's going on with whether it's an event or even maybe a concert at the amphitheater. Here in my hand, I have some of the scores after our qualifying rounds for our Pacifico Junior Men's Freestyle Kayak Qualifiers. Looks like with a score, I'm going to go in reverse order with a score of, I won't even go over the scores. I'll just give you their names in reverse order. So we have Mathis Hargrove. I think Jude Mason, and then Owen Forrester, Tucker Troutman, Remy Brunson, Marcus Mortelli, and Bodie Hillicky. Bodie Hillicky with a score of 473 points. Second place, Marcus Mortelli with a score of 385, and third place, Remy Brunson with a score of 365 points. And with that being said, this is still kind of, they're feeling around and seeing what this spot is allowing them to do. And that should give them a great game plan going into tomorrow's semifinals and finals, Mason.
Yeah, looking at this, I mean, Bodie had a really good idea of coming in and doing that entry move again. So Bodie winning prelims is also going to give him an advantage because he's going to be the last athlete to go tomorrow. And then Marcus will be right behind him, and then right behind them will be Remy. So our top three all within, 110 points of each other? Pretty close right there, and that decision to come back up by Bodie was really what put him over the top.
Definitely worth at least 100 points, so I would say that did put him over the top. So great job by all of our junior qualifiers here. I believe we probably had a lot of our senior athletes also watching and listening and paying attention to see what's going to work. We're going to go straight into the women's senior rounds and then the men's senior rounds. Want to remind everyone, if you're leaving the area where you're spectating an event and you had maybe a Celsius or a LaCroix or even a Pacifico, don't leave it behind. Make sure you grab it with you, grab it up, put it in the recycling receptacles. You can see that we're so connected to the outdoor lifestyle here at the mountain games that we actually have our garbage cans camp too. So you'll see all the garbage cans in tents, and each one of them indicates what you can put in each slot. So last year we were able to keep 89% of the garbage from the GoPro Mountain Games out of the landfill. So we have become the most sustainable mountain festival in the world, and they are just looking to improve that number with our Walking Mountains sustainability program and get to 91% for 2026. 91% of all the garbage will not go into the landfill, and that comes down to all of our spectators that get to come out here and watch all these competitions for free. All you have to do is put your garbage in the appropriate place. Pretty simple ask. And that all goes along with protecting our playgrounds and the mantra of leave no trace.
Next up, we have the senior women. We have McKinley Kate Hargrove, Chloe Spears, Emily Jackson, and Abby Holcomb competing in this next heat.
Now we're just getting ready. I see many of our return competitors heading down to the bank of the mighty Colorado River here in downtown Glenwood Springs, competing on their whitewater play park, which was created, I believe, around 2008, 2009. They made a couple little changes in here, and it's been the go-to play spot. That's good, whether the river is super high or whether the river is a little bit lower, or even those like really low late summer flows. There's always something here in Glenwood to have fun in a kayak.
All right, guys, we now have an order for these senior women. We have 3-1-4, McKinley Kate Hargrove first, 4-1-8, Chloe Spears, 4-0-8, Abby Holcomb, and 4-2-0, Emily Jackson. That is our order for the senior women.
All right, and these paddlers will go in the same round robin format that we did, and about halfway through the round we'll blow a whistle, and then we'll let all the competitors know their scores, and then that will help them determine how they're going to finish out the rest of the round and give them as much information as possible so that each athlete has the best possible chance to do as well as they possibly can today. And being the qualifier, oh, hello. Here we are, here in the studio, having a good time under the Pacifico tent here at the GoPro Mountain Games 24th annual. We've got our freestyle qualifiers. We just went through the junior rounds. Now we're getting to our senior rounds. And it's a lot of fun being able to bring that to you live. My name's Dan Guevara. I'm being joined here by another one of the Hargroves and also Hojo, our Wave Monkey scoring system maestro.
That's right. Welcome to the stream there. Now, Dan, the reason we're not having it in Vail is the water's pretty low. I'm going to look. Take a look. Do you think it looks low to you?
It looks low.
Yeah,
Definitely
that looks low.
Looks pretty low.
Looks much better where we are here.
You might hit the bottom with the nose
down
of your
there,
kayak.
not so good. Not so good. So we were getting the judges seated. I'm going to turn this back over to Mary Claire Hargrove, and we're going to talk a little bit about this women's class.
Thanks a lot, Hojo, and we're looking forward to seeing some more kayaks flying through the thin mountain air up here at, gosh, I don't know. What do you think our elevation is here?
Oh, I don't know. 5,700 feet of elevation.
Wow, that's a great guess. Yeah, did you just pull that out of the air?
Definitely.
She's good. She's good.
This category is going to be so fun to watch because all of these women have been on the USA Freestyle team. So that means they have gone internationally and competed in events with other people all around the world.
And that's one of the great things about this sport is it's a small community of paddlers, but once they start traveling around the world and sharing their stoke with, those other communities, it's just like one great big kayaking family. So whether you're paddling in Japan or New Zealand or anywhere in Europe, you're going to run into a lot of the people that maybe have met your friends or that, and it's really fun, and that's what really bonds all of us together is that, once you kayak with someone, you're kind of friends for life, and that's kind of one of the most special things about kayaking. And what's really nice about the competition part of it is everyone is really cheering each other on. We don't see a lot of people coming out with the game face and not really sharing their knowledge or maybe some of the little tricks and tips that might help you in the competition, even though you could be a direct competitor in that friendly kind of competition side of freestyle kayaking, I know is one of the major aspects that always attracted me to it some 30 years ago. We've seen the sport really develop and evolve through the years, not only through the scoring and the tricks, but also through the equipment. The kayaks have gotten much lighter. The kayaks have gotten quite a bit shorter. When I was kayaking, a lot of us were mostly in 7-8 foot long kayaks, and now most of the kayaks are under 6 feet or right around that area. Each one of our paddlers is paddling a special kayak, not really specifically designed for them, but probably outfitted for them. So the way that they put the outfitting in the kayak can be kind of personalized to how you like to paddle.
Yes, they do have different outfitting in every boat. So some of these athletes out here have different outfitting for waves or holes, depending on what you like.
That's right, and want to welcome all of our spectators. If you're out there watching, why don't you put your hands together for us and let us know you're watching. Then they're trying. Maybe didn't get the memo on that one, but we want to also welcome all of our spectators from up in downtown Vail, right there on Gore Creek, watching remotely at our official and I think our first ever GoPro Mountain Games watch party being broadcast live remotely here from Glenwood. And who do we have first? Mason? Sorry. Mary Claire.
we have McKinley Kate Hargrove first up. I think we're going to try to get this heat running very soon. So everyone give a round of applause to these amazing athletes out here.
Speak with your chest. Little lower voice. Okay. Act like you're a game show host. Or a gangster. A rap star.
Yep.
314 taking some big breaths as she enters this feature from the top, probably going for an entry maneuver.
Yes, she is going for an entry move. Looks like she's trying to set up the entry McNasty, which is an entry 3. She pulls it around perfectly, getting huge air, going for a space to the right. Huge air on that, but flushing out. Now we have Chloe Spears coming up into this wave.
Chloe, bib 418, coming up into this feature with a nice vertical loop. Stands it nice and straight up. There's no question about that.
Next up, we have Abby. She's coming in the hole, trying to do an entry move. What entry move is she going to try? An entry 2, entry 1, or 3? We'll see. This paddler is amazing. She paddles so well, and she's the nicest person.
Also a world champion, Abby Holcomb. The Adventure Miss. Find her in that new Lightship RV that I saw up there at the Mountain Games parked on the lawn. Emily Jackson getting right to business with a loop.
She's coming over on this other side. On this side, it's more of a wave than the pour over there. So it's nice how you can do a versatile of tricks. Wave tricks, hole tricks. People are in here trying to do blunts, roundhouses, spins, and also phonics monkeys and loops and spaces. It's nice to see all the different tricks out here. She's going in for a back roundhouse. What else is she going to do? Maybe spin it around a bit. We'll see.
Emily Jackson absolutely annihilating the river left part of this feature here with a multitude of spins, clean spins, blunts both ways, and she just surfs off the feature with ease. Really a nice ride there to get her first ride of this competition kicked off. Next up into the hole, tell us a little bit about this paddler.
Her name's McKinley Kate Hargrove. She's out here paddling. She's on the USA team. She has won 2 world championships, set a world record, and is sponsored by NRS, Jackson Kayak, and Warner Paddles. She just got flushed out. That's okay. She can come back again. Now we have Chloe Spears coming in here. She's from Texas, but also lives in Columbus, Georgia. She's going spinning around, sadly falling over, but it's okay.
408 coming up into the hole. Adventure Miss going for the McNasty. Nice rotation. Have to see if they give it to her. She's got a little bit off axis there on the second part of it, but she's using some big strokes and a lot of strength to get back up into the stickiest part of that feature and doing a great job of staying retentive. She knows right where that sweet spot is here, and the water level looks to have changed just a little bit, and just some of the nuances in this feature have changed. And Abby Holcomb throwing that kayak around and making it look pretty darn easy as she comes out over onto the river left part of this wave. And we don't have, do we have a timer? If we have a timer, she's getting right up to the end of her ride. She really maxed out her points on that ride. She's going to have to think about some of the tricks that she hasn't done yet. Emily
Next up,
Jackson.
we have Emily Jackson. She's coming in, throwing a nice big nasty, getting some air on that. This feature is nice because when you plug, you get a lot of air because of how steep the hole is. Now she's in the wave, trying for a back blunt, flushing out. Next paddler up, we have McKinley Kate Hargrove. What is she going to try for us now? Nice Space Godzilla McNasty, pulling that around perfectly. Now she's going to try to work her way back to the left side of the hole. This hole's kind of hard to get to the other side because it's diagonal, so it wants to push you to the wave.
That's a lot of power in there. I think she just saw Abby do the same thing and come back up and score a couple more tricks. So she's kind of taking a page out of her playbook, getting kicked over to the wave now, but she has that nice soft touch to see if she can stay retentive on that wave. 418 coming right into the hole. There is no pause in the action here at our Pacifico Freestyle Kayak Women's qualifiers here on the banks of the Colorado River We're watching the freestyle kayaking in action.
Now we have Abby Holcomb in the hole. She's trying to work her way back to the left side. Up, 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 Abby.
Abby Holcomb, a world champion. She's won many national championships, and she's been paddling almost as long as she has been alive. Spent she's probably spent more nights camping down by the river than she has in a more conventional bed, I would say, following her kayaking dreams. Emily Jackson out there with some nice, powerful tricks to start off. I believe this is her third ride, right into a...
Two McNasties. So McNasties here are kind of hard because the feature is so steep, but she pulled those around perfectly.
Mother of two, looking really strong. With 16 Mountain Games titles, Emily Jackson is the most winningest athlete in all time for the GoPro Mountain Games. Our next paddler coming into the feature here. Looking for that loop. Right back to Abby Holcomb. She's only had about a minute to rest. She's right back into the feature. This round robin is a little bit, it's actually quite a bit different than our normal format for paddling. So some of our paddlers might need to be careful about, making sure to breathe, not get too tired in between their runs, since they're taking so many runs over and over again in quick succession. Abby Holcomb looking pretty solid out here. Emily Jackson, watching her from the eddy, maybe trying to take a page or two from Abby's for her playbook. Goes for a standard loop right onto that wave. On her first ride, she just tore that wave up for about 30 seconds straight. Blunts, Blunts.
Yes, Emily Jackson's coming in, doing some wave tricks, doing roundhouses to the right, blunts to the left, a huge loop on that side. Perfectly pulled around. She's spinning it out, thinking about what she wants to do next. Going for a Space Godzilla, not catching the wave, but it was very nice.
All of our kayakers out here looking really nice. All warmed up here in the Colorado sunshine. Little switch loop there. I'm not sure what that was.
If you can see, her boat is super sparkly and pink. It is what you call a carbon boat. Mason Hargrove and Stephen Wright build those boats out in Columbus, Georgia. What they do is they're lighter, stiffer, and they make you go faster on the wave and get better air when you're in holes.
And it looks like that lightweight aspect of that just helped her out a little bit as she was able to paddle back up into that wave from pretty darn far back.
Chloe also has a carbon boat. This one is called an Apex boat. You see how it has the white line and pink on the sides? It's very cute. It's great too. Next up we have Abby Holcomb coming in. What is she gonna try next?
Let's see, maybe going for the lunar.
Lunar orbit, that was amazing.
Takes a lot of power and the perfect setup there in the powerful part of this spot. She has enough varied experience from her travels all over the world as a kayaker to be able to handle it quite easily. Looking great out there in her purple outfit, the red Jackson kayak. I believe she's paddling with the Warner Bent Shaft carbon fiber paddle. Emily Jackson from Jackson Kayaks coming up next.
She just tried a phonics monkey. Now she's trying to work her way back to the left side so she can get more hole tricks in here.
That's right. She spins it around, decides she's going to save some energy for the wave, but just takes a little too much momentum. Comes off the shoulder. Back into our next paddler, looking for a tricky woo.
She did not pull that around, but it was a very good try, and it looked super good. How much time do all these people have to begin with?
Well, they don't have that much time, but when they go in over and over, one right after another, it goes by pretty quick. Looks like they still have maybe 3 minutes before we let them know what their scores are. 1 minute, that is.
Chloe Spears coming in, doing some great wave tricks. She got a spin, a blunt, a roundhouse, knocking all those small tricks off the score.
Adventure Miss.
Coming in with the back loop.
You saw some GoPro short of her in that new Lightship RV. Pretty cool tow-behind trailer. Check them out, and one of our new sponsors here at the 24th Annual GoPro Mountain Games. We're here at the Pacifico Freestyle Kayak Qualifiers. Emily Jackson has won this event 16 times. Beautiful McNasty, maybe with some air as a bonus.
We're almost to the point where everyone has their last rides before we call out scores. So they're all trying to get the extra points down so they can know what they're getting.
And you can see her cartwheeling to the left across the grain there, and that's actually helping keep her in the sweet spot in that wave. 420 Emily Jackson.
This is the last rides. Coming in for a good loop. Now we have Chloe coming back in. She has a nice pink outfit. What is she going to try next?
Out there in that Apex composite kayak. Just gets kicked out of the back of the wave as we're back up to Adventure Miss, who just barely got her breath back. Seemed like she was just in the hole a second ago. Maybe going for that lunar as she gets into a left-hand side surf. And you can see she's taking some forward strokes to advance her position in that feature.
Tried for some cartwheels, kind of low angles, but they were amazing. Now she's over on the wave trying to get some extra roundhouses or blunts in there. Maybe a donkey flip, maybe an air screw if she's crazy. She's surfing around, trying to look to set up for her new trick. To set up for tricks on a wave, you want to get to the top of the wave so you can get the most speed coming down.
And this will be the last ride before we read the scores. 420 into the hole. Emily Jackson coming out of Tennessee, mother of two. We saw her daughter out here paddling a little bit earlier with her husband Nick in the women's junior class. We got to see her son Tucker also in the boys junior class. And now mom's out there throwing some rounds. And we're going to take a little break. Hojo's going to come down to the water's edge and announce all your scores. So why don't we have all of our competitors come over to the river left-hand eddy, and we'll let you know. You can catch your breath, maybe take a sip of water, empty your kayak if you need to.
All right, we're going to go ahead and run down these scores. We're going to first look at bib 314. We're going to look at bib 314 here. Right now, she's sitting with a middle score, McKinley Kate Hargrove of 565. She has an entry 3, a spin, a Space Godzilla, a McNasty, both sides with air, left shove it, right roundhouse, left roundhouse, and a front loop. That is her score sheet. And each of these judges have a score sheet. That is essentially the main score sheet. And we're going to now work to the next one. So now we're going to look at bib 4. We're going to go to bib 418. She has a score of 220 points. Her middle score sheet is a loop, a spin, a shove it, a Space Godzilla, and a left roundhouse.
Is that all of them?
Yes. Now we're going to move on to bib 408. Abby Holcomb sitting with a score of 860 points rounded, 740 middle score. Phonics Monkey McNasty's both ways, spins both ways, loops, lunar orbits, roundhouse, and a shove it. And then we're going to look at Emily Jackson. Emily Jackson, bib 420. Her middle score are loops, spins, blunts, Phonics Monkey McNasty's roundhouse, back roundhouse, pirouette, and a cartwheel. So that's. So we're gonna go and give them this information while we stand by and take a look. Dan, let's Let's take a look here. We're here in Glenwood, beautiful, beautiful Glenwood. And the Colorado River here runs through. There's this nice, gorgeous river park that's right behind, or right in front of us. The spectators here seated in these. It's really nice build out here, glorious. And there's actually surfing on the other side. Stand-up surfers are out. It's a beautiful day here.
This is a dreamy Colorado summer day as we kind of kick off the summer each and every year with the GoPro Mountain Games. And for this area and everyone around Colorado, it's really the kickoff of the summer. You know, we're getting these days in the 80s and 90s. There's lots of water in the rivers. Everyone's like cabin fever, ready to get out there and go mountain biking, climbing, kayaking, whatever. But we're really thankful to be down here in Glenwood, to be able to work with them and to utilize their play park to make sure that this year's whitewater events even happened.
Yeah, so for the folks there in Vail, you know, you can see what that river looks like. It's not the best water in the world, but we made it happen. We're going to do the downriver sprint tomorrow in Pump House Upper C section. And this is the, you know, for folks watching, would have been in the hole, the Pacifico Freestyle Kayak Challenge here. Pacifico coming in large to help us out with all these events in general. And for the folks down there at Vail, you can see Pacifico everywhere. So go and find one. They're not hard to find. Big yellow tents everywhere.
That's right. They're even giving out free hats, and you can pick your own little design, whether it's a happy face or a puppy paw print, and they'll like print that hat for you right there. So go check that out.
That is cool. I haven't seen that. I would like to go see that. So yeah, here at the event, we are just getting the women's scores read out to them so they know what's going on. We try to effectively make this as fair as possible. And part of that sometimes is just running and not telling anyone what their score is. And then they learn at the end. Now with live scoring, we're getting more into the, get into the time where we are effectively able to tell them exactly what they scored, exactly when they scored it. And this system's been like this for a long time. Now we're doing jam mode. And jam mode is really dynamic. They have to keep switching. So we can't really show live scores because at any point in time, a paddler might flush, and then you're switching, and you've got like a mix of scores up there. But at the end, we'll show you the scores for sure in the round results. I do want to make a mention that we have already come through junior women's, junior men's. We're in the women's class, and we have one more class to go.
That's right, and that'll be the men's senior class. I saw some paddlers getting ready already, and I know we have some of the best freestyle paddlers in the world out here, not only in the women's class, but also in the men's class. I think we have pretty much most of our USA junior world champions competing here as well. So it is great to be able to carry on the tradition of kayaking here at the GoPro Mountain Games, because after all, this started as a kayaking event, and it's evolved into a festival that combines, the athletes, the art, the music, and the mountains, and we're just really happy to be able to pull it off this year. We're at the mercy of Mother Nature, and since we didn't get a whole lot of snow, we didn't get a whole lot of runoff, so that's the way it is. Going back to the music part, want to remind everyone that we have some great music happening at the AMP. Tonight we have Will Dorado and Michael Mercagi with support from Steph Strings. Spend your Friday night in the mountains with indie folk favorites Will Dorado and the rising singer-songwriter Michael Mercagi, known for soaring melodies, heartfelt lyrics, and an anthemic sound. Will Dorado brings an electrifying live show, so check them out up at the AMP tonight, tomorrow night, and Saturday night we have music, so really looking forward to everything happening, not only during the day, but into the evening as well.
All right, we're going to get this going. Again, I'm going to turn this back over to Mary Claire Hargrove for the call as we roll back into the Pacifico Freestyle Kayak Challenge here at the 2026 GoPro Mountain Games.
That's right, and as we get back into our order, we will go in the same order that we maintained throughout the first part of this round.
Yes, so we have McKinley Kate coming up first. She's about to drop into the hole. We're waiting for the judges to get the thumbs up.
And we're
She got
ready.
the thumbs up. She's going in, plugging for a back loop. Now she's trying for a Space Godzilla to the left. Maybe she'll come over to the wave now. We'll see. Now we have Chloe coming into the wave.
Chloe in her Apex kayak, that kayak designed by Eric Jackson. The Apex brand coming out of Tennessee. Eric Jackson, multi-time world champion. Also on the kayak fishing circuit. Watching some of his offspring paddling out here today.
Now we have Abby coming in from the top. She's going to try an entry move again.
Well, let's see what she's got. She can put together this entry maneuver. Made a big difference in our men's junior class, and she lands a really nice entry move there, so that should put some additional points on her scorecard and was probably well worth the walk back up.
Emily's going in, trying for a front loop. A front loop is a 360-degree end-to-end rotation in the air. And now she's coming in for a side surf, trying to set up maybe a woo tricky or something like that. Now we have bib 3-1-4 coming in. McKinley Q. Hargrove going in for a Space Godzilla to the right.
McKinley Kate with a nice quick cartwheel there. Chloe coming in from river left in the Apex kayak. It seemed like she was just in the hole about 20 seconds ago. Back into it. So this round robin really living up to its name here in the second half of our Pacifico Women's Freestyle Kayak Qualifiers. Abby Holcomb, hashtag Adventure Miss, setting up her next ride.
She's going in for her lunar again. Maybe she'll get it that time, hopefully. Now she's going in, trying to get back to the left side to do some more tricks.
Adventure Miss has been doing a good job of working her way back up into that very retentive part of the wave and then able to carve back out onto this less retentive part of the wave here on the left side and pick up some nice spins. It's like a back blunt. Good control on that. She goes for kind of a double clutch into it. Starting to really surf it up on the rails now. 408, Abby Holcomb. Nice blunt. Looking for maybe something to initiate off the stern. Beautiful ride. Emily Jackson lining up that McNasty, but doesn't quite get locked into it. And here comes your sister once again.
Yes, she's going in, trying for that tricky woo. That was so good. Now she's trying to come back out to retry it again because it was not high enough.
Definitely worth trying maybe a couple times until you score it, because each additional move is just going to add points, and going out and doing the same trick is kind of just going to expend energy. So I would say really staying laser focused on trying that new trick every time until you know you got it.
Yeah, that's the great thing about the way they're having the competition now. You get many more rides, so you have more opportunities to try your harder tricks. Just like what Abby just did. She did a 3-point loop. That is a back loop following straight into a front loop. That's a very hard trick, and she pulled it off.
Yeah, that was pretty dynamic. I'm not sure if she knew what she did when she came up out of that, but that was really fun to watch. Kind of a back loop into a front loop. Here comes your little sister again in that beautiful pink sparkly kayak.
Yeah, she was trying to do a phonics monkey. It didn't quite pull around, but she did do an amazing pirouette. She's giving up on working to the left. Now she's trying to come into the wave to maybe try some blunts or Pan Ams. Oh, actually going in for the back loop.
That was amazing.
A nice one.
She really is a quick paddler and so lightning fast, and staying on that feature there just shows what a great kayaker she really is. We got a little bit of upstream wind coming in here. That might help the kayakers stay on the wave a little bit better. Chloe out there just throwing that Apex kayak around, making it look great out there. And that white and, what is that, a pink color?
Yes, I
Looking
think
really
that's
good.
pink. Abby
Abby.
coming in with a big loop. Now she's thinking about what her next tricks will be. Maybe she'll try a tricky woo, maybe a woo tricky, maybe a phonics monkey. For holes in waves, there are different tricks, and there is so many different tricks that you could try. It's very nice with freestyle how you have so many opportunity to try different things.
Yeah, there are a lot of options here, and it really, rings true to the core of freestyle, and that's being able to think on your feet, go for maybe some different tricks that the other competitors aren't doing, maybe even going for some tricks that you yourself aren't as comfortable doing as maybe your bread and butter and your meat and potatoes tricks that you know you can do. So this format really is forcing some of our athletes to maybe learn some new tricks and try some different tricks that they might not normally try.
Yes, definitely.
This is going to be last rides, I believe, for our kayakers here in our women's senior Pacifico Freestyle Kayak Qualifiers here at the GoPro Mountain Games. Next year will be our 25th annual, so we have some special stuff planned for GoPro Mountain Games 2027. Make sure you put that on your calendar for next year.
This is everyone's last ride. I repeat that, last ride. Coming in, trying to get that phonics monkey, and looking pretty nice. Now she's going to come over to the wave side, maybe try some tricks, going for a back roundhouse to the right, setting up a back roundhouse to the left, maybe getting some air under there.
McKinley Kate Hargrove absolutely throwing down with a beautiful phonics, I believe, to get this particular ride started, but she has a whole bunch of tricks already added to her scorecard. Looks like she goes for maybe a helix.
Yes, a helix.
We haven't seen that attempted yet. As Chloe comes into the hole once again, this will be her last ride. This is everyone's last ride. Chloe trying to spin it around.
Looks like she was trying to set up a back loop there, or maybe a back blunt. Now we have Abby coming in, doing a space to the right, trying to work her way back to the left side to get some more tricks, because this is her last ride. So she wants to do as many points as she can.
World champion kayaker Abby Holcomb.
Looks like she was trying to set up a McNasty. Maybe she'll try that again. Going in, McNasty to the right. She was doing a spin McNasty. So that's a 365-degree rotation into a front loop. There's another way to do it where you could do a switch McNasty. It's where you do a shove it into a loop.
And this will be the last ride for all of our competitors. And Emily Jackson has won this event 16 times. Multiple world championships under her belt. Probably known as one of the most talented and winningest freestyle kayakers in the women's division of all time. She's been all around the world throwing her kayak around. Remember paddling with her when she was about 7 years old, and she was already starting to get some pretty awesome tricks going. And that's going to be it. Let's have a big round of applause for all of our women's freestyle kayakers. They put on a great show for us. We've got a beautiful place here to spectate. If you're looking for something a little bit different tomorrow on Saturday, we will be having our semifinals and finals down here. So if you want to jaunt on down, there's plenty of spectating down here in Glenwood to come see our finals tomorrow in the afternoon. Make sure you download the official GoPro Mountain Games app, and you can schedule that and then set that app to send you a reminder. And you can do that and kind of schedule out your whole weekend at the GoPro Mountain Games. So pretty cool. One of the only festivals I've been to that has its own dedicated application for iOS or Android, respectively. All of our men's senior freestyle kayakers for the Pacifico Freestyle Kayak Qualifiers should be getting ready. That means donning your helmet, which is required equipment, donning your PFD or your life jacket, which is also required equipment. You have to have a kayak, that's required equipment. You have to have a paddle, that's, well, not necessarily required equipment. but it is helpful. And then you have to have one of the most unique and important pieces of equipment for kayaking. It isn't the most expensive, but it is one of the most important pieces of kayaking. And I probably am safe to say that at least one kayaker in their life has forgotten this piece of equipment at least one time in their life. And can anyone guess what that is? It's a spray skirt. And that sucks when you forget it. And that is the device or the piece of equipment that's made out of wetsuit material, neoprene, and that seals the water out of your kayak, and it fits tightly around your waist. It goes under your PFD. A lot of our paddlers out here are wearing dry tops, so they're staying a lot warmer because they've got a jacket on that's waterproof, and it has seals around the wrists and the neck, and the spray skirt tube around your waist, and that keeps all the water out. Looks like we have our scores coming up, so our wave monkey himself, Mr. Hojo, is going to announce our final scores for the women's qualifiers.
In fourth place with 283 points, Chloe Spears. Of course, everyone will be going to finals. In third place with 975 points, McKinley Kate Hargrove. In second place with 1,051 is Emily Jackson. And in first place with a score of 1,236 is Abby Holcomb. We'll give it up for the women's rounds. Again, we've got Chloe Spears, McKinley Kate, Emily Jackson, and Abby Holcomb. Abby topping off 1,236 points. Now we're going to roll forward to the men's class as we get ready for our final preliminaries of the day here at Glenwood, Colorado. I don't know if they've got a name for this feature or if it's just the Glenwood Wave. We all call it just the Glenwood Wave. You going to go to the Glenwood Wave?
Yeah, the Glenwood Wave.
I'm going to go to the Glenwood Wave.
Kayak Play Park, you know. It's
and we should clarify, too,
just one wave.
They're very proud of this because this is a beautiful valley. There's actually another river that comes in just upstream here called the Roaring Fork, and we are below the confluence of that. So this is the Colorado River. You know, rivers have that thing where it's like, nope, I am going to be this river. It doesn't matter what comes in. So it's the Colorado, but upstream is one of the most gorgeous rivers in the state, Roaring Fork. That's a wonderful float.
And if you were an explorer and you were standing right here and you went upstream and you were like, where do I want to go? Should I go right up the Roaring Fork or should I go left up the Eagle? You would wind up in two of the most iconic mountain towns of Colorado as well. If you follow the Roaring Fork, you'd wind up in Aspen.
That's right.
And if you follow the Eagle upstream, you would wind up in Vail.
That's right. Just on the other side of the canyon, a little town called Dot Zero, is the confluence of the Eagle and the Colorado River. Now, we're going to move into the men's category. I'm presuming I have them all in here. So we're going to quickly create a men's class and read you who is going to be going in the men's preliminary round. Well, give me a moment here. These are preliminary rounds. We are doing jam session. Okay, we have some lost keys in Glenwood, not in Vail. Vail, you guys are okay. We got some lost keys. If you have found these lost keys, we don't have them. We were looking for them. If we found lost keys, please bring them. Please. Do we no longer have lost keys?
I think we just solved our
We no longer have lost keys.
That was amazing.
We found them immediately.
The person who was looking for them came here to report them, and then she made the note herself and looked over, and one of her family members had them in his pocket. So, hey, everything's good here. You know, we solve problems. We judge kayak competitions. We find keys. We are just, you know, we can do it all down here, Hobie. And getting back to kayaking action, we are coming into our men's senior qualifying class here at the Pacifico Freestyle Kayak Competition here at the GoPro Mountain Games 2026 edition, brought to you by Yeti, Celsius, Nature Valley, some of our endemic sponsors and some of the companies that really come here and support our whitewater events in particular. Also, Slipper Smith & Sons. So send a big whitewater shout out to any of those companies. And remember, when it comes time to purchase equipment, you have the freedom to buy whatever you want. Well, why not? If everything else is all equal, price, performance, weight, everything else, why wouldn't you buy the brands that support the mountain games to help support our event? We would really appreciate that, and that's why all these events come out here, or all these companies, and have so many different giveaways or swag. If you haven't been to the Gear Town Mountain Village area in Vail and walked around and gotten some free samples from one of the hundreds of sponsors, well, then you're really missing one of the most fun aspects of the GoPro Mountain Games, and that is just simply walking around and trying all these new products, taking the free samples, and getting the swag, as they say. So definitely one of the most well-supported events out there. And since we don't charge to watch any of the events, all the events are free to watch, that we really have to survive on our sponsorship engagement and our athletes who enter, those registration fees. So if there's an event that you're on the fence about, maybe the 5K or the mud run, there's still tickets available. You can still sign up and be a part of the 2026 GoPro Mountain Games by going and getting signed up for one of these events that's still open.
All right, here's your heat. Ari Dennis, you are first. Ari, can you hear me, sir? Ari Dennis, number 1. Second will be Mason Hargrove, you're number 2. Number 3 is Mr. Dane Jackson. Number 4 is Spencer Mortel. Number 5 is Colin Glacken. Number 6 is Seth Chappelle. Number 7 is Paul Palmer. And number 8 is Nick Troutman. You'd think with these bib numbers, I would have fixed this a little better. But alas, their bib numbers are like 1 off, so we're going to have some fun bib numbering here. But that's okay. Ari, Mason, Dane, Spencer, Colin, Seth, Paul, and Nick Troutman.
And I have a really quick kind of housekeeping note for all of our kayakers. We had the Colorado Wildlife Department over here. We want to make sure everyone clean, drains, and dries their kayaks before they leave the area. So we have a cleaning station just above the spectator station where you can wash your kayak out, and they actually have a vacuum in there, and you could suck all the water out of your kayak. So we want to make sure to be responsible about not helping spread these invasive species like the mussels and stuff like that. So all of the kayakers, please take note, help your friends out, be responsible. We'll be watching out for you. You need to clean, drain, and dry your kayak before you leave the venue. We would certainly appreciate that, and that's actually required. So thank you for following up with that. It looks like we've got some frothing kayakers down there in the eddy. I think every single paddler in this round is entering from above, so they're all going to have some type of entry maneuver that they're going to try, and that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And I think we've got our pan cameras going to pan on over, and you're going to see some of these paddlers. I see Mason Hargrove down there talking to Dane Jackson. I see Colin down there.
No, I think we've got them all ready. We're all here for this Pacifico 2026 Freestyle for the GoPro Mountain Games. Normally in Vail, but today we're in beautiful Glenwood, Colorado. And Dan, I grew up just downstream of here in a little town called Grand Junction. And you can't find anyone in Grand Junction who doesn't speak fondly of Glenwood for the hot springs. This is one of the most popular hot springs. We get our choice in Grand Junction. It's go to Glenwood or go to Ouray. And Glenwood was the community pool. Now they've got another big hot springs here in town, Iron Mountain. And it's got some cool history, too. You know, Doc Holliday came here to be in an infirmary for tuberculosis back in the days of consumption. So we got a little bit of a Wild West history, as it were. The Yampa Hot Springs. Yampa is, I believe, big medicine for the Utes. They were the ones who originally came and were occupying this land and, revered the hot springs, as any good human should. Hot springs are an amazing thing to have in your backyard.
very, very therapeutic. I know I utilize a lot of sauna-ing and hot spring-ing whenever I can. And that's kind of one of the unintended features of learning how to kayak and being a kayaker is you stumble across these rivers with these beautiful hot springs on the sides of them, and that can make it a lot of fun. But once again, we are down here in Glenwood, a little bit different venue than we're used to. It's a lot of fun being here.
That's right, here at Glenwood. Now, you may have seen this gentleman here. He is our camera operator. Also a Hargrove. Yeah, we're literally have a game controller here running this camera. And so the GoPro Mountain Games, they've been around for a long time, as you were saying. We appreciate everyone who comes to the Vale Village every year for this. And, of course, we very much appreciate all the folks who are here and the spectators. But, man, the village, the vendor village, all of the Dogtown, Mountain Plaza, Gold Peak, and I can't remember the numbers, but I think we're getting close to 100,000 people visiting a year. Is that?
Yeah, last year we had 95,000 people come through over 4 days. I think this year we'll probably top that even. So if you're in downtown Vale, thanks for joining us on our watch party. I believe this is the first official watch party we've ever had at the GoPro Mountain Games. So, we're putting it all together, athletes, art, mountains, music, and technology to bring you the hottest action, whitewater kayaking, brought to you from, almost an hour's drive away. And we're bringing it to you live thanks to our Jumbotron on the side of Gore Creek there in downtown Vale, right where we're used to sitting between the International Bridge and the footbridge.
That's it. Now, this is your men's class all up there. I think they're all in there. I can't see. They are there, but we got Ari Dennis, Mason Hargrove, Dane Jackson, Spencer Mortel, Colin Glacken, Seth Chappelle, Paul Palmer. And let's get this going here. Just stand by.
So our first competitor will be Ari. We will be doing the round robin. So athletes, you need to be paying attention. We want to make sure that if as the last paddler is kind of flushing out of the feature and rolling back up, you should already be taking strokes to get back into the feature.
All right, Ari Dennis, can you hear me, Ari? Yes, you're first. Yeah, no, you wait. You're not ready. I am not the head judge, sir. But Ari Dennis, he's there. You can see him. Second up, Mason Hargrove. Where are you? Give a wave. That's Mason second. Dane Jackson. Dane Jackson's third. He knows he's third. Spencer Mortel, you are number 4, sir. That is right. Colin Glacken, where are you? Colin, local boy at the Colorado Rockland School. He's down there in all purple. And then Seth Chappelle, our only seaboater. Seth, hold up that paddle. He can't hear me. Seth Chappelle, 407 there. And then Paul Palmer, our local. Paul is the favorite to win this. He lives just upstream, or grew up just upstream. And then Nick Troutman, who is lecturing the crowd. That is your order. We are good to go. Stand by for your 26 freestyle from Pacifico.
Yeah, we're looking forward to 27. I think it's going to be a big snow year, 2027. We'll be back on Gore Creek, be back to our normally scheduled whitewater program with 9 different whitewater events. We had to cancel a few of those events this year, but we are very grateful to be bringing you the freestyle kayak, also the downriver events that will be happening tomorrow on the upper sea. Those will be a lot of fun. Here we are just moments from starting the qualifying round for our men's seniors. We have the thumbs up, so Ari, let's have a big round of applause. Looks like Ari coming out here. He's going skin to win. He's got a shorty top on. That water out there is probably, it's probably in the 40s. And some of the kayakers up here in the stands are saying, it's actually wonderful, Dan. It's pleasant. Kayakers think 40-degree water is wonderful. As long as it's white and it's foamy, it always feels good to a kayaker.
We have Ari coming in, doing an entry too, looking pretty nice, sir. He's trying to come to the left side of the feature to do some more tricks, throwing a huge McNasty towards the right side. He's trying to come back over again to set up something else. Going in for the lunar orbit around, pulling it up, maybe trying another McNasty. Yes, he is. Flushing out. the next paddler we have coming up, Mason Hargrove. He's also going to do an entry move.
Mason Hargrove, the builder of that kayak there, builds custom-made composite freestyle kayaks known as dream kayaks, dream boats. That's probably the biggest loop we've seen all day there. He was telling us how to do it on the mic a little bit earlier, and so now he just showed us how to do it.
Yes.
Really light on his seat there as he carves around on that wave.
He's coming in trying air screws both ways, which is very hard on this wave because it's not as tall as the waves in Columbus, Georgia or in Canada. Next up we have Dane Jackson coming down from the top eddy, going in for an entry two, looking pretty nice, pulling it around into a cartwheel, linking it into the McNasty to the right. Now trying to make his way back over to the left side, going in for a lunar orbit, linking it into cartwheels and linking that into a split wheel.
Yeah, Dane Jackson showing you why he's known as the GOAT and one of the best kayakers in the world there with a nice quick flurry of tricks here. And this round robin style of paddling is going to be really fun to watch this men's qualifying round here, as the action is just going to be continuous and nonstop. A lot of these paddlers have really clued into the sweet spot and the most retentive spot in this wave as well. So you're going to see a lot longer rides here. So each paddler will actually be getting a little bit more rest in between their rides than maybe some of the rounds before this. But as we watch here, going for that lunar right back into the hole in the composite kayak.
Yes, this is Spencer Mortel coming in. He also did an entry move, and now he's trying to get his McNasties down into this wave. All of these men are 18 plus. That is why they're in the senior category. They are the best of the best.
So you can be 18 years old or 87. It doesn't matter. Once you get to be 18, you're going to be in the senior class for the rest of your kayaking career, whether you're in the men's or the women's. Looks like we got Colin.
Colin coming in, trying for the entry three. Not quite pulling it around all the way, but it was still very nice. Now he's trying to come over to the left side, do a phonics monkey. He got a nice pirouette around. Now he's thinking about coming over to the wave side, doing a nice blunt to the left.
And I love those tribal flames that he's got going on that paint scheme on his composite Jackson kayak. I believe
yes, that is
that's
also a dream boat too.
One of Mason's boats. Yep, and it looks beautiful there as he's cartwheeling his way off. Next up, we have a little bit different style of paddling here on his knees, paddling with a single blade known as a C1 style of paddling. He may look like he's at an advantage, but you'll find out really quick that Seth actually has some a little bit of an advantage in some tricks, but as he is now, you can see him doing that cross bow stroke on his opposite side. That is very difficult there as he comes onto his onside now with his paddle on the downstream side. He's trying to back himself up and keep himself in the sweet spot there, the spot that's been throwing out the biggest tricks so far.
Seth is also a world champion for C1. He is very good at this and trains all the time in his C1. He's coming around for a nice left blunt on that wave side, setting up again, maybe for another roundhouse or blunt.
And to be good in a C1, you have to be a lot more balanced on that kayak. It's got a modified outfitting system so that he can kind of sit on a pedestal while he's in a kneeling position. So he's got a lot more leverage and torque. But obviously without that blade on the other side, that can be kind of a disadvantage. One of our first paddlers to get all the way to their 1 minute mark. World champion Seth looking good in the C1 style.
Now we have the next paddler coming in for an entry move, getting a nice entry one, going in for a loop with air, pulling it around nicely, trying to go over to the right side to get some wave tricks now.
Yeah, and being one of the locals here, this paddler is no stranger to the Glenwood wave. Probably one of the first kayakers to ever paddle on it. Looking very good, very smooth.
Looks like he's trying to set up for a nice wave trick to get on top of the feature, but it's kind of hard to get onto the top of the feature on this side because of the curlers on either side of the wave. Now we have Nick Troutman dropping in. Looks like he's going to try an entry 3, which is an entry McNasty. Pulling that around perfectly. Now he's going over to the left side, trying to get some more hole tricks before he moves to the wave.
Nick Troutman from Canada originally and a junior world champion. Paddles for the GoPro Mountain Games as one of the official athletes. Father of 2. We got to see every single one of his immediate family members paddle so far today. So that is his 11-year-old daughter, I think, his 15-year-old son, maybe, his wife, and now he gets a chance out there. So it really is a family affair for the Troutmans out here. Nick doing a lot of different tricks out there, looking very dynamic in his traditional red and black kit out there. I believe he's also in a Dreamboats composite Jackson All-Star.
We have the next paddler coming into the wave. He was trying to do a lunar orbit, but he caught his edge and flipped over. But that's okay, because he's going to try it again and stick it perfectly this time. Now we have Mason Hargrove coming in, my brother. He's an amazing paddler, amazing person, coming in for that lunar loop. That is a very hard trick, folks. He did that perfectly. Now he's coming in for the lunar again on the other way, pulling it into some cartwheels.
Mason looking good with a big combo trick to get things kicked off here. Even though it's a qualifier, they do have to stand an advantage by being the highest scoring paddler. They'll get to go last tomorrow. That'll give them the opportunity to watch all of their paddlers go before they have to go. So having that knowledge of kind of what scoring and what your competitors did and what you need to do to beat them can be a real advantage in this freestyle kayaking format in particular.
Now we have Spencer Mortel coming out here. He's a Colorado local, pulling around a phonics monkey. He actually has a house in Carbondale, so he trains down here all the time. Looking like he's trying to set up for McNasty. Going around, pulling the nice switch McNasty to the left. Making his way over to the left side of the hole, pulling in for a big loop. Next up, we have Colin Glacken. He is also from Colorado. He lives in Buena Vista. Now he's going in for a Space Godzilla link loop. That is called a space loop. Pulling into the left side, trying to get him some more tricks. Maybe a phonics monkey. Yes, pulling it around, getting the pirouette.
Colin McGlacken looking great out there. Also a U.S. team member representing the USA team at World Championship competitions. Seth with a nice McNasty to get things started off with. He went for a whole minute ride on his last ride there. We haven't seen any athletes do that yet. And another nice snappy trick there right in the meat of that hole. It's a bit of a more of a ledge pour over where he's located, but then as you fade onto the shoulder, it becomes a lot flatter.
Yes, this hole's diagonal. So while the freestyle paddlers are in there, they are fighting to stay on to the left side because the wave is trying to push you towards the right.
And Paul Palmer, we thought he had some big tricks for us today, but so far just hasn't been able to quite get into the flow of things, but he's got plenty of time right now looking at Nick Troutman.
Yeah, Nick Troutman just tried the space loop that Colin Glacken did, and he pulled it around nicely. He's going in for some more tricks soon.
Yeah, Nick has, plenty of tricks in his bag. I'm sure he'll be able to pull something out here as he works his way into that middle, going for back loop.
Back loop, front loop. That is a 3-point loop. That is one of our newest tricks added into the scoreboard from the ICF.
That's right, and he really had to work for that one, but that work really paid off. Now a big blunt on the wave, cartwheeling it around, taking a big face full of Colorado water, going for that back blunt, knows that it's a back stab, and he's got to be coming up on the end of his ride. Let's have a big round of applause. Nick Troutman out there laying it down. 411 coming into the spot right now. I believe this is Ari Dennis. Ari Dennis with a nice
Phonics monkey.
Phonics monkey. Here comes your brother Mason. He had a
yes,
beautiful
he's also trying the
combo.
phonics monkey too.
Yeah, and right in, they kind of have to blast. It's almost like a vertical surfing as they force that kayak to spin around against the flow of the water. And that is a trick in and of itself. Even though we don't score it, just making that transition is such a powerful and finesse move that you're pretty much required to do that, I think, if you're going to be in the top 3 of the men's or the women's.
Now we have Dane Jackson coming in, trying a tricky woo, making his way back over to the left side, maybe trying the tricky woo on the other side once he gets this down. Yes, he is trying the tricky woo on the other side, linking into some cartwheel ins. Now he's over on the wave, maybe trying a blunt to the left, maybe some Pan-Ams, maybe a donkey flip. We'll see what this guy can do.
I don't think he's got as many titles here as his sister, but he definitely has probably 10 or 12 freestyle titles here at the Mountain Games, battling for GoPro, Jackson Kayaks, and Red Bull. Dane Jackson, pretty much the living goat of our sport right now. He runs big waterfalls. He just is amazing on big waves. We've been seeing some of his Instagram clips lately of doing those triple air screws and, you know, running all around the world, surfing some of the biggest waves we've ever seen, running huge waterfalls. Right now I see some big air and some big hair right now by our local Colorado paddler out there in the hole. I believe it's probably one of our taller paddlers out here. He's in a little bit bigger kayak that's actually really throwing him up into the air, looking very dynamic.
Yes, he also has a dream boat from the factory of Steven and Mason.
Those dream boats have plenty of accolades already. Looks like Colin McGlacken also in a dream boat. Grew up right here.
Going for a nice lunar orbit, trying to link that into some cartwheels. That's a very hard trick, and he pulled it off great. Now we have Seth coming in, trying some cartwheels on that side, cartwheels the other way, linking them together. If you do your tricks one by one, very closely together, they count as a link, and you get extra points for linking your tricks.
And if you watch closely as he does those left-handed cartwheels, anything he does spinning to the left is his offside. So right there, he has to reach all the way across his kayak into what's known as a cross-bow maneuver and really balance. And that's where I believe he's at a big disadvantage at this wave, but he is really making it work for him. Paul Palmer coming in, starting off with a McNasty, maybe going straight into a lunar. Paul Palmer grew up on this river. Virtually, he was kayaking here before they even created this spot, I believe. Paul Palmer with another nice big maneuver there, going for a loop. He knows he's got a lot more to give, just trying to tap in and find his flow out here. Nick Troutman for that McNasty out of the eddy.
Yes, all these athletes have 25 minutes in total for their rounds. So we're about 1/4 of the way through. They're all getting some huge tricks. Nick Troutman's going in for a lunar link to some cartwheels.
Originally out of the Ottawa area, Nick Troutman has also been the runner-up here in the freestyle kayak competition.
Now we have Ari coming in, looking for that lunar too. He wants it. He's probably going to try it again. Now we have Mason Hargrove coming in. What tricks is he going to try next? A phonics monkey to the right with some air. That was very nice. Now he's trying for the McNasty to the right as well with air and pulling it around, getting many, many tricks. It's very hard to do more than one tricks in this hole because it's so diagonal. You have to work your way to stay in it. As you can see, he's digging and trying to stay in to do more tricks. Trying to pull around a tricky woo, maybe pulling it around. We'll see.
That looked pretty good, and Mason is having a fantastic ride out here. Looking great with
huge Space Godzilla.
Huge qualifiers to all of his tricks there. Space Godzilla's right and left. Even if that was a single ride, I believe that would probably be one of the highest scoring rides we've seen so far. But what does Dane have in his bag of tricks? Dane Jackson coming out here paddling for Jackson Kayaks, Kokatat, Warner Paddles, and Red Bull. Doesn't quite put together the flurry like we saw Mason.
Now we have Spencer coming back into the future, doing a nice phonics monkey. He's trying to get more tricks. He wants to go as big as Mason did.
And the last 4 paddlers have come out of the eddy with that perfect crossbow right into that phonics monkey. it's like it's catching on.
Yes, and his brother was competing out here earlier today in the junior men. Marcus Mortel and Spencer Mortel coming out.
Another family making it a kayaking affair out here is Colin McGlacken. His family grew up right here on the banks of the Colorado River, now calls Buena Vista home. U.S. team member. I believe he might be a national junior champion as well. Colin McGlacken with a beautiful
roundhouse link McNasty is what he was trying to do. We haven't seen that been done yet on that side. It was nice. Now we have Seth Chappelle coming in, trying to do some tricks. Maybe looking for the McNasty, pulling around pretty nice. It's really hard because he only has one blade and he's on his knees.
He is also a world champion, so he spent a lot of time paddling in this position. He is at one with his kayak when he is out there. Paul Palmer coming in, looking for maybe a lunar to get things started. Paul Palmer with another nice maneuver there. He's going to work his way over onto this wave. He's known for his big wave tricks with that Colorado logoed helmet. Next up, Nick Troutman.
He's coming in, trying for that phonics again, but accidentally bottoming out there. But he'll probably try it again. Coming over to the side, trying for a lunar link cartwheel. Link cartwheel again. So if you do multiple cartwheel ends at once, you could possibly get a huge on there depending on how many you do. And if you get a huge or air on it, you get extra bonuses. So you can see people trying to do loops and they jump up really high because the higher you go, the more points you get.
Nick just working his way into something here as he's got to really work for it in the middle of that wave. It takes a lot of strength.
This is the last ride for all these people before we call out the scores.
Ari Dennis with a nice flurry of tricks.
He was trying that space loop as well. Now we have Mason coming in, doing a phonics, quickly pulling around that pirouette.
Yeah,
probably going in for the McNasty again, getting some big air on that.
Yeah, and Mason has been looking, I think, the best out of this whole round so far, really putting together rides with a lot of variety, a lot of amplitude. Looking very at home in that mustache and with that Dreamboat kayak under butt.
Yeah, Mason's also on the USA team, and he is a junior world champion. Now we have Dane Jackson coming into the hole for his last ride before we call the scores, trying in for that pirouette. A lot of the paddlers have been trying the pirouette recently here. Now he's going in for the lunar, trying for the lunar loop and pulling it around nicely.
That looked like a pretty nice lunar loop, even though he was a little bit paused out into the loop segment of the trick. He didn't take another stroke, but his timing is so impeccable. Dane Jackson paddling for Jackson Kayaks, Red Bull, Kokatat, Warner Paddles coming all the way to Colorado. He'll be heading straight out for another kayak competition. This is the time for these freestyle and really competitive kayakers. Every single weekend, they've got another event to go to. And a lot of times they're in a different state or maybe even across the country. So these kayakers really on the move in between competitions.
Now we have Spencer Mortel coming in, trying for that lunar orbit.
Spencer trying to stand up that beautiful composite red kayak. And that's going to do it for him as he washes out. And next up, we're going to see
Colin Glacken.
Colin Glacken.
He's coming in with that new shiny boat. That boat is actually very new. He got it this year. So it's nice to see it out on the water flying high.
Yeah, it does look all nice and shiny new. That blue sparkle job. That was beautiful.
That roundhouse link McNasty. That is a very good trick. Going in for the Space Godzilla to the left on that wave. That is kind of weird because we normally don't see people trying hole tricks on the wave side, but Colin is doing them very nicely. He's spinning it around a few times, having some fun. Now we have Seth coming up.
Beautiful style out of Colin there. Really light touch there and throwing some tricks on that wave we haven't seen yet.
Seth coming in. He's trying to work his way back to the left side because this is his last ride before they call the points, and he wants to get as many points as he can to know where he stands.
And normally he's got his own division to compete against the other OC1s, but since we don't have a full class, he's going to have to, try to go up against the double-bladed paddlers or the kayakers, and he'll get judged just the same. But we've seen him throw down and win within the kayak class times before, so definitely not one to,
Now we
not
have
put your
Nick
money
coming
on.
in. He's our last paddler before we announce the scores. So he wants to get as many points as he can. He's working his way, trying to set up, maybe looking for a McNasty, but spinning it around. Now trying a tricky woo and flushing out. Now, folks, we're going to announce scores and take a quick break.
Let's hear it for all of our men's kayak qualifiers here at the Pacifico Freestyle qualification round. We're halfway through the men's senior class and about 3/4 of the way through our competition. Our only kayak competition for the day here at the 24th annual GoPro Mountain Games. Big shout out to Pacifico for bringing us this year's freestyle kayak competition. Want to remind all of our kayakers to clean, drain, and dry your kayaks before you leave the Colorado River. So as you leave the competition area and you walk up to the parking lot, there's a station where you can rinse your kayak out, and there's a vacuum where you can suck all the last water out of your kayak and make sure it's very dry, because we don't want to, introduce any invasive species into other areas. So we're really following that as a requirement. So remember to clean, drain, and dry your kayak. And we have created a station. You can do that. Looks like Hojo's down there meeting with our men's senior freestyle competitors to let them know where they're at midway through this round-robin style of kayaking. My name is Dan Gavira, bringing you the freestyle kayaking action for almost 2 decades here at the GoPro Mountain Games. And we've seen this competition morph from a pretty much whitewater-only kayak event into a mountain festival featuring our athletes, art, music, and now we've got the collab stage, so we're bringing in a digital aspect of it. It's our first ever watch party that we've had right there along the banks of Gore Creek. So if you're watching the action and you're sitting there where you might be normally watching us hosting this competition from downtown Vail on Gore Creek, we thank you and hope you're having a great time watching. I want to send a big shout out and let everyone know that the VVF puts together this event. It's a year-long challenge. It takes over 400 or 500 different people, but it's really organized by a core group of people that work on several different fundraising events and different format events throughout the Vail Valley, and they are the VVF, or the Vail Valley Foundation, so a big shout out to them. Big thank you to the town of Vail for letting us giving us the keys to the castle each and every year. We get to come and take over the streets of Vail for 4 days to really kick off the summer. And we've created this event that has become the most sustainable mountain festival in the world. Last year, we saved 89% of the over 10,000 pounds of garbage and trash that was thrown away. 89% of that was kept out of the landfill, so that's great. A big shout out to our Walking Mountains sustainability project that goes hand in hand with Protect Our Playground initiative. You can learn about all that on our official website, GoProMountainGames.com. Also, if you haven't yet, I highly encourage you to download the app for your Android or your iOS device, the official Mountain Games application. That's free to download. With that being said, it's free to watch. All of our events are free to watch. We do not charge to watch any of the events here. So if you're a spectator, it's a great value and a great way to spend your days. And so we ask for you to help pitch in and support our event by going and buying some official merch, some of the official T-shirts and hats that we sell to help bring this event to you each and every year. Please go talk to all of our sponsors, whether it's BF Goodrich, Yeti, buy a Pacifico, go talk to the friendly folks at Celsius. We have hundreds of sponsors that come together to make this event happen. You can also support this event by buying tickets to the concerts up at the AMP. We have a great lineup at the AMP coming up for our Mountains of Music. Tonight will be Wildorado, which is a great, going to be a great show up there. Also, Saturday night we have the Almond Belts Family Revival in the Rockies with support from Eric Krasno and friends. So great Almond Brothers tribute band. It's going to be playing at the Amp on Saturday night. So you can get those tickets right up to the time of the show. So I highly encourage you to plan an evening of music in the mountains up there at the amphitheater. Looks like our men's senior kayakers have kind of reset. They got their scores. Some of them are walking back up to try their entry maneuver again. Some of the other paddlers are like, I think I'll just stay seated. And they'll just start from their normal starting spot. But we will go in the same order. So we'll start with Ari Dennis. And we will end with Dane Jackson. So we'll go in the same order. Big shout out to Glenwood, the town of Glenwood, for letting us take over their Glenwood Play Park today and tomorrow. We'll be here doing our freestyle kayak events as a part of the GoPro Mountain Games. And, we're just lucky to have a contingency plan. Since we don't have a switch or a dial to control the water here in Colorado, we have to go with Mother Nature, and whatever she gives us, we take. And so this year we didn't quite get enough on the Gore Creek, so we're down here on the Colorado River, and we're having a great time bringing it to you live via our satellite location for the day.
This is Wave Monkey Live here. We've got your commentator in the back there getting a little quick snack in. That's Mary Claire Hargrove, Matt running the camera. We're joined here by none other than the estimable Dan Gavir, and myself. I'm Hojo here with Wave Monkey here at the GoPro Mountain Games at the Pacifico 2026 Kayak Freestyle Championships. Really, I've been calling it a challenge, but it's the championships for this. We're in the men's qualifiers now. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. we will be having the finals. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. We'll have another live stream going, and we'll be pushing it right down into the International Bridge for all you folks there entertaining yourselves at the core games of the 2026 GoPro Mountain Games.
That's right. I think you'd be pushing it up. You'd be pushing it upstream too.
Oh, did I say downstream?
Yeah,
yes,
you said down.
Pushing it upstream.
Yeah, we're
upstream.
uploading. Looks like we're ready for Ari. Where are you? You can get it. Someone got it. Ari got it. We were looking for him. We were like going, where are you? There he is. Ari Dennis coming into the hole. Going for that McNasty. Getting a little wampus on the last part of the maneuver there. Just not quite as tall as it could be. Some nice cartwheels in the wave feature.
Yeah, so all these athletes just got told their scores, so they know what they have to do to get on top. Next up, we have Mason coming in for his first ride after this break, trying for the lunar orbit, getting around, maybe putting into some cartwheels. Now we have Dane Jackson coming into the hole, trying for the lunar orbit again. Oh, actually, lunar loop. That is very nicely pulled around. He's going back to the left side, trying to get a few more tricks in on this ride, trying for the lunar again, and now flushing out. Next up, we have Spencer Mortel. He's from Colorado. He knows what's up. He's used to this cold water. What is he going to try for us now?
Spencer Mortel backing it up with that Warner paddle, trying to slow his momentum down to make sure he doesn't flush through the hole.
Going in for the entry, too. And now he's working back to the left side, like all the other paddlers, to try and get some more tricks. Actually just catching his bow and doing a little bit of a push out, and now he's trying to go back to the wave, but flushing.
Looks like our next paddler paddling for immersion research, Colin
Glacken coming in, trying for that entry 3, pulling it around great. There's actually 3 different entry moves you can try, and they're all based on skill level. So entry 1 is the easiest one, entry 2 is the medium, and entry 3 is the hardest entry move you can try.
And here comes Seth coming downstream from above, another immersion research paddler. Immersion Research out of Hood River, Oregon, makes all kinds of awesome paddling gear, spray skirts. Check them out if you're looking for some new gear next year when you're looking to gear up for your paddling season. Seth out there on his knees with a single-bladed canoe paddle. We would call this a C1 or a decked canoe, even though he's modified, one of the modern kayak models into a kneeling position. Seth is a world champ.
Now we have the next paddler coming in, looking like they're going to try an entry two, which is an entry wing over. He did that perfectly. He's trying to come back to the side, to the top of the hole, to try some more wave tricks or hole tricks. Looking around like he wants to come to this other side, doing a nice spin there, trying to set up a back blunt to the left. Now we have Nick Troutman coming out here. They're from Rock Island, Tennessee.
Nick Troutman go over a big loop there, maybe a Space Godzilla. Looks like he was a little bit off axis. Space Godzilla to the left.
Yeah, the
Awesome.
difference between a space and a loop is a Space Godzilla is a loop, but it has a twist to it. So it's a loop with a twist is a Space Godzilla. Going in for a blunt to the right, sticking in the hole, going for a donkey flip. A donkey flip and an air screw are like the same. An air screw, you get a bunch of air. Donkey flips, you kind of stay in the water the whole time, but they're both very cool to watch.
Yeah, we haven't seen anyone pull off that donkey flip here or the air screw that I've seen yet, but a little bit higher flows, I think it's doable on that wave. You have to have the perfect setup and timing to get that one over here. It's like we're back to the top of the running order with a nice McNasty for Ari. Ari Dennis carving over into the wave pocket over here on river left, and a nice couple ends there to end out his beautiful ride there. Mason Hargrove with some dynamic paddling there. It's almost pushed the helmet down on his face where I couldn't see his eyes.
And we're going to go ahead and turn on the live score for the live stream. And we're going to keep these scores going as the competition goes on. We've had a hard time putting this up here just for the dynamic nature of this event. This is the first time we've done jam session here at the GoPro Mountain Games. So we're now going into the next paddler, Dane Jackson. You'll see his score pop up here in a second. He's sitting at 22.60, and he flushes off of that while we go to Spencer Mortel. His score right now sitting at 11.40, as Spencer Mortel does a nice Space Godzilla to the left.
He traveled about 8 feet across that feature during that Space Godzilla, really making a lot of lateral movement. He's a pretty tall paddler, being able to reach all the way out there. Colin lining up in that beautiful white and blue Dreamboats Jackson kayak. What has he got? Gets a little bit buried on that Phonics attempt, I think. Looked like he was setting up something off the crossbow. That's usually the Phonics monkey. A 360 spin into a front flip.
Yeah, now he's trying to do some cartwheels on that side. Now he's doing
Big
a blunt. Nice.
Really throwing that boat up into the air, blunting into the afternoon sunshine, as we see some extremely irresponsible bridge jumping going off in the background.
We have the next paddler in the nice yellow boat coming in, doing some cartwheel ins, trying to come over to the left side to get some more tricks in before he flushes out.
Paul Palmer looking to set it up here. We know he's the local favorite. That was nice. Kind of double clutched that McNasty, but pulled it around right in the most powerful spot of the hole. Next up, Nick Troutman starting early, going for that tricky woo.
That was some nice ends getting pulled around there.
Not sure if they'll give that to him. He kind of started the tricky woo early in the eddy, but he was able to pull it around. They're switching directions virtually upside down in the feature there. I'm not sure what that was or if it was actually a trick, but Nick Troutman's looking really good here, getting into the flow of things, as they call it, the flow state. I think kayakers invented the flow state. Nick Troutman surfing around in that Dreamboat's red and
Trying
black.
for that donkey flip and sticking it.
I think that might have been one of the first donkey flips we've seen to be retentive there. Nick Troutman with another nice flurry of tricks for us at our Pacifico Freestyle men's qualifiers, and Ari Dennis with a flurry of ends right into a big old air loop. That was fun to watch. And keeping the action flowing, Mason.
Looking like he's trying to do a back loop, front loop, 3-point loop, pulling it around nicely. He's coming around for the loop on the side. Those are some very high scoring tricks.
And Mason is just starting to tap into the magic zone here in this kind of fickle play spot on the Colorado River. The Glenwood Wave, as we've been calling it for the last 15 years or so since they worked on this wave. The town of Glenwood decided to invest in some kayaking recreation and developing this area, which used to be not the prettiest, and they've really transformed this park on both sides of the river into a kayaking paradise. And we've been coming here with kayaks and surfboards and stand-up paddle boards and just having a gas out here for the last 15 years.
Do you have a guess at what the water level is right now?
I would guess the water level at around 2653. That would be my guess, just approximate.
Yeah, I'm glad we got water out here to have an event. Around Colorado, there's very low water, but here it's nice, it's flowing, and we're having fun. We have Spencer in the hole now, trying to work his way to try a lunar.
I think all these kayakers should get a rebate off their taxes because they're like recycling the water. You know, they're being the most efficient about their water usage, and so maybe they should get a little tax rebate for that. Colin Glacken out there throwing that Dreamboat around.
Well, you know, a lot of us ski on this water and then kayak it. We really get it doubled.
Yeah, you should get even more of a rebate. Seth coming into the hole, single blade.
He's working his way over to the left side.
29-20. Ooh, I was pretty close. 2,920. I said 53, 63, something like that. So
Pretty
yeah,
good
hey,
guess.
I was off by 400 CFS.
We have Seth in the wave now, surfing around, pulling a nice blunt, a back blunt.
That was like a clean back blunt with no initiation with the paddle.
Yeah, that's a nice thing about the C1. You only have to worry about getting one paddle blade out of the water for the clean bonus. A clean bonus is where you don't use your paddle blade for the initiation of the trick or the ending of the trick. Or if you don't use your paddle at all, you get what is called a super clean. And those are extra bonuses you get added onto all your tricks.
Paul Palmer with a nice flurry of tricks, followed by Nick Troutman.
Nick Troutman is on Team USA. He is throwing around all of these cartwheel ends.
That's right, his last
rides. Ari coming in for his last ride.
Let's hear it for Ari, everyone out there. Let's put our hands together for Ari Dennis. That'll be his last ride.
Already sitting at 1,008 points. Mason Hargrove coming in now with 2420.
Oh, almost the same as we have CFS in the water. Just need to add 500 points, and you can match the CFS with your freestyle qualifying score. Oh, and really clutching that McNasty out.
Mason's score right now is at
Is he gonna
2580.
Who thinks
He's going around on this wave trying to get a few more tricks, but flushing out.
he really wanted to match this score
Now
of
we
the
have
CFS?
Dane. He has 2570. Pulling around, getting a few more tricks for his last ride so he can get his score even higher.
Looks
Pulling
like
around, doing a shove it, doing it into another, cartwheels in.
Dane Jackson throwing that Dreamboats around. Another Dreamboats Jackson Kayak All-Star out in the hole. Our Red Bull athlete using the Werner paddle. I believe he's in the Kokatat dry top. If you haven't checked out his Instagram, check out Dane's Instagram. He's always posts some fun stuff, some fun big waves and stuff like that. He's really become quite the content creator.
Now we have have Spencer coming in for his last ride. His score is 1,186.67 points. Let's see if he can get more points on this last ride. They're all probably tired because they've been paddling for 25 minutes.
And that's like, that's like hole riding for 25 minutes straight. Probably not unlike a lot of these paddlers do take sessions, though, because I notice they come out and they really paddle fast and furious for 20, 30 minutes, and then they'll go take a half-hour break, an hour break, and then they'll come out and they'll paddle fast and furious for 20, 30 minutes. So a lot of these paddlers are actually kind of used to this format and timing, and it looks like it's not really slowing them down. And through this format, we've gotten to see a lot of big tricks, and probably a lot of tricks we might not have seen if we just followed our normal format.
Now we have Colin Glacken coming in. His points are at 1,331 points.
Goes for that phonics on the entry, kind of gets rejected, but we know he's great on this wave. Big old blunt to the right now, going for a backstab, kind of stands it up, more of just a back retendo. Oh, trying to set up that big backstab. Let's hear it for Colin Glacken. Looking good out there.
Next we have Seth Chappelle. He has 1,158 points.
He's right up in there in the scores with the kayakers. Seth Chappelle, half the paddle, twice the paddler.
Now we have Paul Palmer with 820 points. He wants to get his score up high, and he just did with a nice McNasty with huge air. He's still on the wave, trying to get a few more tricks, looking for a back roundhouse to the right, back blunt to the right as well. He got that up more.
And this is the ride that he's been trying to tap into here for the last 20 minutes. Paul Palmer knows this site as good as anyone else, growing up just upstream of here, literally from Glenwood. Let's hear it for Paul Palmer. Everyone out there, put your hands together. Nick Troutman with a paddle spin.
Yes, he's our last paddler for this event. His score is 2,280 points right now.
Wow, and I believe he's the only paddler so far up into that 2,000 point range. Or no, sorry, third paddler. Looks like him, Mason, and Dane were probably all up in that 2,000 point range. And that's going to do it for today's Pacifico Freestyle Kayak Qualifiers. Thank you for all of our competitors for coming out today. Thank you for everyone watching remotely. If you're up there on Gore Creek, thank you for joining us. Make sure you come join us tomorrow at 4 p.m. for the finals. You can watch from downtown Vail on the Jumbotron there on the banks of the Gore Creek, or you can come down and join us right down here in Glenwood. Plenty of places to sit and watch here. It's going to be a beautiful day. Lots more on tap today for day number 2 of the 2026 GoPro Mountain Games. Make sure you pick up some tickets for the concert at the Amphitheater. Many of our events are still open. If you want to get entered, maybe for one of the fun runs, the mud run, there's a lot of kids events that are available. If you haven't checked out the SUP and Kayak Adventure Zone up there at Golden Peak, I highly suggest you do so. I know we'll have non-stop canine action coming from our Purina Pro Plan Dogtown down in Lions Head Village. Make sure you go down there and check out some of our staple events, which include the speed retrieve and the distance jump. But we've also got some new agility competitions and the flying disc competitions, which are a lot of fun to watch. And we have not only athletes coming from all over the world, we have dogs that are coming from all over the world to now compete in our GoPro Mountain Games for the prestigious title of a champion canine in any one of our many different dog events. And there's also events for people just, wanting to figure out how to get their dog involved, And so check that out on our official GoPro Mountain Games website or the official GoPro Mountain Games application, which you can download for your your Apple or your iOS device. Going to wrap it up here from the banks of the Colorado River for our first ever satellite broadcast for our Pacifico Freestyle Kayak Qualifiers. My name's Dan Gavir. We'll catch you tomorrow on the Colorado River for some of our kayak, SUP, and raft racing. And then 4 o'clock right back here for our semifinals and finals for our freestyle kayak events. Have a good evening. Be safe out there, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, we're still going to do results, Dan. We're not quite done, but that's okay. Dan is going to take a break. He has talked the entire time. He's going to go find some Pacifico. Alas, we just can't walk right up to the Pacifico tent there, and we got to drive all the way to the Pacifico tent, but that's okay. We're just double-checking all the scores while we wait here and get everything cleaned up. We're waiting for these round results to post. I haven't submitted a single score yet. We good? We are still waiting. Getting some good action out on the wave. Big thanks to our spectators here. Big shout out.
That looks about right. What I thought. You read the middle. You read the middle. Yes.
So stand by. We will be here in a second.
Clay, I'm saving the average score. Everything's average. We're just telling them what their middle score sheet is so they know basically what they've averaged.
But we're going on the average ride is what counts.
Yeah. We have for everything. Yeah, I'm taking middle score. But I'm trying to get some scores so people, we're on live streaming. I'm trying to get this in, yeah.
I know. I'm making sure that you did what we talked about so that you don't announce the scores and it wasn't what we talked about.
No, all the scores have been the average. We've been telling the paddler what their middle scribe sheet is as an example of it being, we should be muted. No, we're not muted. Okay. Oh.
All right, we have the results for the men's qualifiers here. In 8th place with a score of 1,008 points, Ari Dennis. Just ahead of him by 5 points is Paul Palmer, 1,013. With 1,071 in 6th place, Colin Glacken. 1,308 points is Seth Chappelle in 5th place. 1,338 points, Spencer Mortel in 4th. 2,286, Nick Troutman in 3rd. 2,633, Mason Hargrove in 2nd. And in 1st place, Dane Jackson, 27-26. So those are your men's qualifiers. Ari, you will go first tomorrow in the men's finals, followed by Paul, Colin, Seth, Spencer, Nick, Mason, and Dane. This concludes the qualifying portion of the Pacifico Freestyle Kayak Championships here in the 2026 GoPro Mountain Games, all the way down here in Glenwood Springs. Tune in tomorrow, and we will kick off the finals, 4 p.m.